And articles list him among the foremost coaches on the hot seat. LSU won the toss and deferred, so Miami will receive the opening kickoff with Jeff Thomas and DJ Dallas, two speedsters, back deep for the kick from Avery Atkins, a true freshman. A lot of these freshmen seeing their first college action in Jerry World. So many butterflies normally and compounded on national TV in this mammoth facility with about 80,000 on hand. And DJ Dallas, a couple of yards deep in the end zone, takes a knee. So here comes Malik Rozier. Last year, a lot of commentators called him Rozier. When we visited with him the other day, he said his name is Malik Rozier. So we'd like to call people by what they call themselves. And last season, despite the difficulties down the stretch, 31 touchdowns responsible for. He threw for 26, ran for 5. That broke a record held by Vinny Testaverde, who set it back in 1986 when he won the Heisman Trophy. They opened in the pistol. Travis Homer, their leading returning rusher, takes the handoff. Ahead for about 2 before he was driven back by Jacob Phillips, part of an outstanding linebacker core. Both teams have terrific linebackers.
Going to be very difficult to run between the tackles against this LSU defense. Very stout. They play a base 3-man front defense. Miami plays a base 4-man front defense. Dave Aranda in his 3rd year as the defensive coordinator.
Again, the pistol. Mark Richt, the head coach, calls the plays with significant input from Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator. Rozier dumped for a loss. Rashard Lawrence, the leader of that front, the junior from Monroe, Louisiana.
Unbelievable play by Lawrence. This is a zone read, and Rozier is going to read the tackle. He fakes like he's going in and still gets to the quarterback to make the play. The defensive tackle was able to guard 2 guys at one time.
Miami was dreadful on 3rd down last year, 29%, and even worse during that 3-game losing streak at the end of the year when they were at 22%. It's an area they hope to make major improvement. It's a screen for Homer, and not very far goes the running back. He ran into Devin White, one of the best linebackers in the country.
Couldn't ask for a better opening series. If you're LSU defense, a quick 3 and out, and they should get decent field position on the exchange here.
Zach Fiegels, a sophomore, returning starting punter for Miami, and a newcomer for LSU. He's been itching to go for a long time. Jonathan Giles, who sat out last year as a transfer from Texas Tech.
Oh my gosh,
pressure
how did
on
they
the
not
punt.
bid it? They still got the short punt, but I don't know how they didn't get the block.
Ed Paris was right in the face, right on the leg of Zach Fiegels.
Right up the gut, and he tried to block it with one hand and missed the football, but he still forced a poor punt by Fiegels.
Just 24 yards.
And LSU, which has struggled over the last 3 years with their average starting field position. Last year they averaged their own 32, which was 57th in the country. Their first possession on the Miami side of the field.
Joe Burrow played in 10 games, all off the bench at Ohio State over the last 2 seasons, behind J.T. Barrett, his first college start. And they give him an easy throw to get him started. Leonard Fournette, the younger brother of the former LSU great Leonard Fournette, ahead to the 42-yard line of Miami, tackled by Michael Jackson.
You're exactly right, Sean. Just a nice, easy throw. Get the nerves out. Let him get that first completion of the ball game. And they were able to pick up decent yardage. Again, excellent field position. And I think in a game like this with 2 defenses as good as both teams are, you must capitalize on good field position and come away with points.
And they started at the Miami 47. Gain of 5 on the first play from scrimmage for LSU. Burrow hands it off inside to Chris Curry, a true freshman. There's a flag down. Curry appeared to get a first down. If the play Waterman on the stop for Miami. It's a Big 12 officiating crew led by Mike DeFee. who's here on an Ed Hockley bicep fellowship.
Illegal formation. Didn't have enough guys lined up properly. The one thing I was a little concerned with when Holly and I were at practice earlier this week, in their live stuff, in their scrimmage type stuff, too many little motion penalties, procedure penalties, weren't quite as crisp as you would like to see on the week of the game.
Yeah, that's a killer. Wipes out a first down, sends them back to 2nd and 10. Burrow, obviously a mature young man. One of the things that Orgeron and the staff liked about him, his leadership skills. When we asked, will you be nervous? He said, hey, I played against the Ohio State defense in practice every day for the last 3 years, and now the LSU defense. I'm not nervous. Chris Curry, a surprise starter. Thought we'd see Nick Brissett or perhaps Clyde Edwards-Helaire to start the game in the backfield, but it's Curry, a true freshman out of Lehigh Acres, Florida.
That penalty again really costly. Not only do they take away the first down, now their first 3rd down situation is 3rd down and long. And again, Burrow has to be quick with his decision making and quick with his release of the football. This Miami team, 44 quarterback sacks a year ago to lead the nation.
Manny Diaz, the coordinator, he likes to blitz. And Burrow knows it. They give him time. He has a man open. They have a first down. D. Anderson. The ball comes out at the end of the play, and Miami has it. Michael Pinckney popped it out.
Well, wait a minute now.
They might be premature in giving Miami the ball. Their sideline nearest to it erupted, thinking the turnover chain was going to make its first appearance of the year, but the officials.
It was a really good read by Joe Burrow, finding the open man. There were 3 receivers in the area. He found the opening and got the first down. That was D. Anderson on the completion. You must take care of the football. You've got to know that this is a team in Miami that thrives on forcing turnovers. You got to protect the ball as you're going down. I think the ball did come out, but LSU came away with the recovery.
Yeah, no doubt it's a fumble. And LSU comes quickly up to the line, almost as if they're trying to avoid a review.
Play clock's down to 1. Got to hurry.
Yep, he didn't get it off.
Ed Orgeron called a timeout from the sideline. Again, this is the first meaningful snaps in a game that Joe Burrow has taken. He's got a lot on his plate, and he's got to manage that play clock as well. course, Manny Diaz, a defensive coordinator. Last year, one of the best things Miami did was force turnovers. Third best in the country. Of course, that birthed the whole turnover chain and so much energy around this Miami football team. And almost got one there. Now, LSU, on the other side, interestingly enough, tied an NCAA record with only 8 turnovers last year, 4 interceptions and 4 fumbles. So that's a key storyline in this game, because Miami, that is just a juice play for them. If they can create turnovers, it affects field position, it affects momentum, and it was a big part of their success in 2017.
Now we're told with this break that the previous play is being reviewed.
Well, I think it's being reviewed for targeting. And the question is, was that the crown of the helmet by Trajan Bandy with forcible contact? The receiver is not a defenseless player. He's a runner with the football. But was that forcible contact leading with the crown of the helmet?
Well, let's bring in our rules expert, longtime on the field official, Bill LeMonnier. Bill, what do you think?
Well, there's 2 possibilities here. The targeting is one. Secondly, there's no question it was a fumble. Replay won't get involved in recovery because we had a mass of humanity, so they can't determine who recovered the ball. So that call on the field should just be left alone. On this one here, he comes in, no question, crown of the helmet's there. The tough decision for replay is forcible contact.
Yeah. And Bill, this was a case where it wasn't called on the field, but the replay booth stopped the action to review it for this call, correct?
Exactly. They have the power. I think it started a year ago. They have the ability. If it's not called on the field, they have the ability to make the determination if targeting was made or not.
And if LSU had not called the timeout, had snapped the ball,
you can review a play until the next legal snap.
So,
yeah, I hate to see it for Trajan Bandy. He's a young guy getting his first start. He was a backup a year ago. Michael Jackson's the proven starter on one side of the corner. And Trajan Bandy, the sophomore out of Columbus High School in Miami, a very physical, tough, hard-nosed kid, hoping he can stay in the football game right here.
Here's Mike DeFee, the long review.
Instant replay was reviewing the previous play. After further review, there was targeting by the defense, number 2. That player has been disqualified.
Wow. So Trajan Bandy, sophomore from Miami, started 3 games a year ago. He's out.
And that affects Miami in a huge way. Not only is he the starter, but that also disrupts their rotation with 3 corners. So now Javonte Dean, who we knew we would see a lot tonight, the junior college transfer, is going to be in on a full-time basis now, and they will have to figure out who their 3rd guy is in now when they get into their sub packages. A key loss for the Hurricanes.
You think if LSU had gotten the playoff quickly, that would not have happened. So they benefit from trouble with having to call a timeout. Here's Nick Brossette. He's down near the 15-yard line. Another flag down. Javonte Dean, who just came in for the ejected Trajan Bandy, made the tackle.
In the area of holding on the offense.
Holding. Offense, number 2. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, if you're a wide receiver, you just want to be a mosquito. Just get in the way. Just get in the way. Keep your hands inside. Don't grab. You don't need to overpower a guy. Just get in his way. Really
looked like a lot of grabbing there.
No, it wasn't. But another costly penalty that sets him back after a good run.
Of course, a big story this year for LSU, in addition to the new quarterback, it's running back by committee. Throughout the years, they've had so many star running backs. They don't have the big name ball carrier. This is Nick Brossette, who's their leading career returning rusher with 306 yards career entering the season. Joe Jackson made the tackle.
The other thing we're seeing differently with Steve Ensminger, the new offensive coordinator. We haven't seen the quarterback under center. We haven't seen a fullback I formation. A lot more shotgun and 3 wide receiver sets. They still have a tight end in and 1 back.
Steve Ensminger, the sort of new offensive coordinator. You had the job before and has it back now. Good tackle on the catch made in the flat by Terrace Marshall. Derek Smith plays the striker position for Miami. Really a nickel. There's Steve Ensminger. When Ed Orgeron in 2016 was elevated to head coach, Ensminger became the offensive coordinator. The numbers went way up. They went 6-2, but at the end of the year, Orgeron searched around the country to find the best candidate he could find to be the offensive coordinator. He brought in Matt Canada, a marriage that really did not go very well for anybody involved. He's now the interim head coach at Maryland with that big win yesterday. Burrow on the run, up for grabs and broken up by the new man into the game, Javonte Dean, who had coverage on Justin Jefferson.
A nice play by Javonte Dean. This is really a good throw by Joe Burrow. It's kind of a back shoulder throw on the fade to the outside. And I thought they were going to get a completion, but Javonte Dean stayed right with the play and knocked it away.
So he did well coming in for the ejected Bandy. When we talk about first game jitters, how about this young man? Cole Tracy, the new field goal kicker for LSU, kicked the last 3 seasons at Division II Assumption College in Worcester, Massachusetts, in a home stadium of 1,200 people. Cool as a cucumber. Drives it right down the middle from 43 yards. Got a sigh of relief for LSU fans who watched kickers struggle last year.
Lately, and the guys have a lot of things on that are so fun, little undulating waves in their uniforms, but I'm just testing out the shoes. These are shoes made out of recycled fishing nets. Guys, I'm giving them a big thumbs up. Very, very comfortable for the parlay fishing shoes.
The coaches and players we talked to yesterday were raving about the uniforms. Wow, what a catch. One-handed snatch by Jeff Thomas. Malik Rozier on target. And a first down for Miami.
Really good protection because this is a long developing play. It's a crossing route. The slot receiver Thomas finds the hole behind the linebackers and then makes the one-handed catch. But it started with outstanding protection.
17-yard gain on the completion of the speedy slot receiver, Jeff Thomas. Play fake. And Rozier, they like to throw it deep, and he's on target again. Into LSU territory near the 25-yard line. Lawrence Cager with Christian Fulton in coverage and Michael Irvin on the Miami sideline. Loving every minute of it.
Christian Fulton getting his first action in 2 years. Starting at corner, he stumbled a little bit coming out of that break, and it was a beautiful throw by Rozier.
For 33 yards. Rozier ran for 468 yards. Last year, he's a threat to run. He's down to the 20-yard line. Glenn Logan made the tackle.
Little play action. They picked up the safety blitzer, Delpit, and then a beautiful throw over the outside shoulder. And again, the little bit of a stumble by Fulton got the separation for Cager. Again, we talked about the red zone. They're just outside of it, but that was not an area of strength last year for this Miami team. I think the quarterback run, either by design or improvising in the red zone, is critical.
A very slow starting team throughout last year as well, were the Hurricanes. Here's pressure right up the middle from Devin White. Rozier got away and throws to the end zone, incomplete. Good coverage by Grant Delpit on Brian Hightower. He's in the country.
Well, he does a lot for him. He's 6'3", 205 pounds. We saw him blitz on the play before. They like to move him around and use him in a lot of different spots. That time he was in man coverage on a wide receiver. Just shows you the versatility of this young safety. Third down again. Last year, Miami 29% conversions on third down. That's a poor number for a good football team.
And 0 for 1 tonight. Third down and 7. Again, they try to put pressure up the middle. Rozier, a high throw, incomplete. Looking for Jeff Thomas, who stands just 5'10", and the coverage from Terrence Alexander, a graduate transfer from Stanford.
Both of these defenses like to play a lot of man coverage, a lot of tough press man coverage, and they force quarterbacks to make difficult, tight throws. That was an errant throw by Rozier.
And field goal kicker questions on each side. Here's Bubba Baxa. Hard to believe, but 4 out of 10 last year in Pasadena, Texas, near Houston, about 4 hours from here. He was one of the top ranked kickers in the country, but he was number 4 by ESPN.com. He has a big leg. He's trying to tie it from 38 yards, and he does. So a great start for the new kicker on each side. 6'4" Smith and Ryan McGee will be broadcasting from the Goodyear Blimp, 1,000 feet above Bill Campbell Stadium. Here's Clyde Edwards-Helaire bringing back the kickoff for LSU. And he's blasted along the far sideline. Sheldrick Redwine had him along the boundary by the waist. So Todd, new quarterback, and not the stud running back to lean on as they have in the past. Last year was Darius Geis, ran for over 3,000 yards in his career. Before him, Leonard Fournette, who was the 4th pick taken in the draft by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And there's Jeremy Hill, 2nd round pick.
And that was always kind of a security blanket. If you're a play caller, you know if times are tough, you can turn and hand it to a stud back there. He's going to get you 3 or 4. It's going to force LSU and Steve Ensminger to be a little bit more creative. They're going to utilize different backs, and I think the passing game will flourish and develop better because of it. I really think in the long run, it'll be better for LSU's offense.
LSU.
Well, they're having trouble getting the plays off, and the last time they had to use timeout, somebody from Miami got ejected. That's probably not going to happen this time. We're back in Arlington, Texas. Sean McDonough with Todd Blackledge and Holly Rowe. Miami and LSU tied at 3. 1st and 10 for the Tigers from their own 27. Out of the pistol with Joe Burrow, the quarterback. He pulled it down under some duress and lost a yard. Jonathan Ford.
Now, this was a well-timed inside blitz by Shaq Quarterman. He didn't get the tackle, but he forced Joe Burrow to leave the pocket. And it resulted in very little gain. Watch Quarterman time it. He beats the back and at least forces Burrow to leave the pocket, and Willis was waiting for him.
Loss of a yard. Experienced group of Miami linebackers, Quarterman, Pinckney, McLeod, starting together for the 3rd year in a row. Handoff to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, part of that running back by committee, sophomore from Baton Rouge, who Ed Ogeron says is explosive. Nowhere to explode there as he ran into Jonathan Garvin.
Yeah, nice play by Garvin, cracking down on that. This is where Joe Burrow has to be very smart with the football. 3rd and 11 against a team that led the nation in pass rushing last year and sacking the quarterback and forcing turnovers. If it's not there, there's nothing wrong with punting the football.
Coaches say he's very smart, very poised, very accurate, and a good athlete. He can make plays with his feet. He's surrounded, hit as he throws, and it's an incomplete pass. At least we think. So far, they haven't blown it dead. Miami's Michael Jackson runs it in. And no whistle so far. So for the moment, it's a touchdown after Joe Jackson and Gerald Willis got in the face of Burrow.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at it. I think he was throwing the football. It came out funny. It looks like it slipped out of his hands, but I think his arm was coming forward.
Recovered by the defense for a touchdown.
It'll be reviewed.
This pocket collapsed in a hurry. Joe Burrow had no thing to do as that arm is coming forward and the ball slips out. That's an incomplete pass.
No doubt. I think this will be brought back. Bill Lamagnier, it seems in recent years the mechanics of this have been, if there's any doubt, let the play go rather than blow it dead, and then maybe you shouldn't have blown it dead. At least this way they can correct it after the fact.
I agree with you on when in doubt. I think was clear. I think it should have been called an incomplete pass flat out on the field.
I think because the ball came out so weird looking, there was no spiral. It clearly slipped out of his hands. Maybe that's why it looked more like a fumble, but his arm was coming forward.
Any movement of the arm forward, it becomes a forward pass.
Yeah.
That's very clearly a forward pass. I guess the only question was the ball coming out of his hand, but it's pretty firmly in his grasp there as he throws it forward.
And you see what Miami thrives on. 3rd and 11. They pin their ears back. Joe Jackson and Jonathan Garvin collapsed the pocket from the ends. Gerald Willis came in with a hit from the inside. You want to avoid as many of those situations as you can against this Miami defense.
And as Mike DeFee talks to the replay booth, there is an injured LSU player, Adrian McGee, their starting right tackle, junior from Franklinton, Louisiana. New starter there, started just 1 game last year, was against Auburn, but played in 12.
After further review, it's an incomplete forward pass. It's 4th down and 11 at the 26-yard line. Please set the game clock to 5:20, 5:20.
You know, Joe Jackson was very efficient last year for Miami, 6.5 sacks, but they think Jonathan Garvin on the other side, who was working against Adrian McGee, they think he is going to have an outstanding year. One of those guys who came to Florida, a big frame, about 220 pounds. He's now over 250. His nickname is Spider. He's a very hard guy to block, particularly when you get him on a 3rd and 11 kind of situation.
So now a punt from Zach Von Rosenberg. DJ Dallas back deep for Miami. Von Rosenberg, 27 years old. Spent 6 years in minor league baseball as a pitcher, retired from baseball and walked on to the LSU program. Punted for them last year.
Beautiful.
Dallas makes a fair catch.
Right on the numbers. Nowhere for Dallas to go. A very dangerous returner, but you pin him right there on the numbers. He's got a fair catch it.
45-yard punt. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. So thanks again to Allstate.
Miami, neither team really able to run the football. Got to try to find some ways to create some space in your running game so it's not all on the quarterback, Malik Rozier. Pretty good series the last time they had the football. A couple big quick completions on the first 2 plays.
Miami is 1 yard rushing. LSU has 2. Pressure off the corner. Rozier just did dump it off. DJ Dallas bounces off a hit and runs out of bounds with a first down at the 43-yard line of Miami.
Good composure by Rozier. It was a safety blitz by Grant Delpin, and watch Rozier know it's coming and just wait to the last minute to slip this screen out to DJ Dallas. He didn't panic, and he showed composure, and they got a big play out of it.
13-yard play, and the officials have stopped the play for an injured LSU player. John Battle, starting safety, senior from South Florida. He knows a lot of these Miami players. One of his best pals is Jaquan Johnson, the All-American safety for Miami.
One thing I would expect to see Miami try to do, maybe right on this play, or at least in this series, is get the football in the hands of Amon Richards. He was their key guy, got hurt last year, was not healthy. He's the most dynamic guy they have on their offense. They need to get his hands on the football here soon. Number 82.
After the play fake, a bullet thrown by Rozier to the 50-yard line to Mike Harley, sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, tackled immediately by Kerry Vincent.
Now that little play action that Miami is using right now, the run is not a real threat, but it's just buying enough time for Rozier, and it's an extra blocker in there by keeping that back in after the fake.
Rozier was the starter a year ago, but they reopened the competition in the spring, summer camp. He won the job back again over some younger quarterbacks. DJ Dallas up the middle. K'Lavon Chason made the tackle for LSU, but it's a first down for the Canes at the 44 of LSU.
Really nice block by the right guard, Hayden Mahoney, on that play. Probably the best running play we've seen so far from the Hurricanes.
Rozier had to take off against a 4-man rush, and he turns it into a game when it looked like he was in trouble. He got swung down by Devin White at the 40.
Good, smart decision. That was a really nice upfield rush by Caleb Von Chesson, and he was able to step underneath it and turn it into a positive gain. He didn't hesitate when he made his decision to run, and he ended up picking up 5 yards.
Malik Rozier came to Miami as a dual sport athlete, wanted to play baseball and football, played 1 year of baseball, was a reserve outfielder.
They called timeout. They were messed up defensively. I don't know if they didn't have enough players on the field or what.
LSU takes their third and final timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
Third timeout. We're not out of the first quarter.
I guess, Todd, it's not surprising in a first game. There are going to be those sorts of things, clock management issues, personnel management issues.
Yeah. And it's okay in the first half. You don't want to do the same thing in the second half when you might need them down the stretch in the football game. But here in the first half, it's not critical. But still, again, when I was at practice this week, there were a few little mistakes, procedure type things. They weren't quite as crisp as you'd like to see in the week of the game.
A lot on the plate of these LSU players and coaches as the season begins. It's very unusual. You have a players-only team meeting before the year even starts. That happened in the preseason for LSU. But Ed Orgeron said he encouraged it. They had a 4-way quarterback battle in the preseason.
Right.
When they released the grades to the 4 quarterbacks, 2 of them left that day, the guys who were graded out 3rd and 4th. So Ed Orgeron wanted his players to get together and talk about it because he thought it was a traumatic experience to lose 2 teams.
Well, it was. I mean, those 2 guys were teammates. They were loved by the rest of the team, but they had to make a decision. We're going to start giving more reps to the top 2 guys. We can't give equal reps to 4 guys anymore, and the other 2 guys decided they wanted to transfer and try to make it happen somewhere else, very similar to what Joe Burrow did when he left Ohio State.
From a distance, a players-only meeting sounds bad, but the LSU folks said it was good. DJ Dallas turns the corner. Great balance and has a first down. He got finished off by Grant Delpit as Kerry Vincent had him down low. A gain of 8.
DJ Dallas is a big kid. He's 220 pounds. Now, he played some wide receiver last year early, and he lost weight to play more effectively at the wide receiver. When they moved him back to running back, he gained some of that weight back, and now he's up to 220. Showed good balance and strength on this run. Following the block of the guard, Mahoney.
Greedy Williams, the outstanding cornerback who missed the tackle for LSU, injured on the play. He's a sophomore. First team preseason All-American. Had 6 interceptions last year as a freshman.
So that puts a true freshman in the game right now. Kelvin Joseph right here, number 1. If I'm Mark Richt, I'm thinking let's go after him right now. He's got Lawrence Cager out there on him.
Highly touted prospect out of Baton Rouge. The coaches just wondered about would the lights be a little too bright. The first game of his career. Trayon Gray up the middle. Caleb Von Chesson made the tackle. Here's Holly.
Well, guys, one of the reasons that LSU had to take that defensive timeout, they are all discombobulated because they're missing 3 guys on defense right now. I saw John Battle go out injured. Todd Harris, number 33, his backup, had gone to the locker room. Jacoby Stevens, number 3, is out there right now, and Greedy Williams has limped off. So they're all in a disarray in the back end right now with players going out.
Dave Aranda trying to sort it out. Rozier with time, single coverage, and it's incomplete. Intended for Amon Richards. As Todd said, they'll try to find ways to get it to him. They think he's the most dynamic player on their offense. Christian Fulton, the coverage.
Beautiful coverage. He's reading the eyes of the receiver. As soon as he sees those eyes go up to the football, he rips that arm up through. He gets his head around and rips that right arm up through and is able to knock the ball away. Beautiful coverage on the sideline by Fulton.
They didn't expect to have this season. A couple of weeks ago, he was suspended, but then reinstated. We'll have more on that as we go along. They love to throw it deep. They do again, and that one's out of bounds in the direction of Lawrence Cager. With the freshman just into the game, Kelvin Joseph in coverage, and more of the same from a year ago from Miami. 0 for 3 on 3rd down.
Well, one of the areas that Malik Rozier, as good as some of his numbers were last year, when they threw the ball down the field, he wasn't very accurate. His percentage was pretty low. It was 54% overall, which is not high by standards today. But down the field, it went down significantly.
Here's the true freshman Bubba Baxa from 45 yards. It's hooking wide left. So he's 1 for 2 in his debut in his home state of Texas.
Snap and hold look good, just hooked it.
Well, they have scrimmaged in Hard Rock Stadium, their home stadium in South Florida, the home of the Miami Dolphins. And the first time they scrimmaged in there, Bubba Baxa didn't fare very well. He said he was a little thrown by being in a huge NFL stadium. Mark Richt said it was his fault. They didn't warm up well enough before that scrimmage. But he's been in an NFL stadium before, but not in a real game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire on first down for the Tigers, tackled by Sheldrick Redwine, and we're under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
New right tackle, and remember we saw the starter Adrian McGee shook up in the last play. His backup is in now. Junior college transfer.
Badara Traore, the #1 junior college offensive lineman prospect in the country, and Burrow almost threw an interception to Javonte Dean.
He almost threw an interception, and Miami had a late hit on the quarterback, and so LSU is going to get a break.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 31, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
He was an unblocked rusher. There was a miscommunication between the quarterback and hit after the ball was released. Nobody picked him up, and just an unnecessary hit. Joe Burrow not only lucky it wasn't picked, but he picked up 15 yards on top of it. I think they have to throw on first down, though.
They came quickly to the line right out of the huddle. Miami was ready to go from their own 43. The Tigers on 1st and 10. Burrow on target, and it's dropped. Derek Dillon could not hang on. Ed Ogeron said our guys will be open. We had a little bit of a problem in the preseason with drops, and here's one in the game.
Good read right in between the linebackers and zone coverage, and that's a ball that has to be caught. Good protection. Quarterback puts it on the hands, and Dillon's got to come down with that one.
Burrow got away from Demetrius Jackson, ran out of time, and threw it away. Not only is LSU replacing the quarterback, Danny Etling, who was signed by the New England Patriots to their practice squad today. We mentioned Geis, the 2nd-round pick, the running back for the Redskins, unfortunately suffered a big knee injury. But they also lost their 2 best wide receivers in DJ Chark and Russell Gage, who are both in the NFL right now. So not a lot of experienced playmakers around Burrow.
One of the guys they're counting on is Jonathan Giles, who transferred from Texas Tech. He's in the slot, number 7. Very productive as a sophomore at Texas Tech. They need him to step up.
He caught 69 balls for the Red Raiders 2 years ago. Burrow on target, first down into Miami territory. Justin Jefferson, a 12-yard gain.
For whatever reason, LSU or Miami only rushed 3 guys, and Joe Burrow was able to stay in there. I think they've been able to collapse the pocket with pressure.
Here comes a Miami blitz. Burrow got it off, and behind Jonathan Giles.
We've seen a couple protection breakdowns with LSU. There's been some free rushers, and that's just a matter of miscommunication, because it's not overload blitz situations by Miami. They're just creating some confusion with their alignments, and Joe Burrow so far has done a pretty good job of avoiding it and at least getting rid of the football.
They're playing without Ed Ingram, who was their starting right guard last year, dealing with a legal matter and suspended. One of 3 players suspended because of pending legal issues. On the LSU side, we talked about the difficult off-season.
Offense, number 44. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Drake Davis, wide receiver. Ed Ingram Offensive lineman Tyler Taylor, who started 5 games at linebacker, all suspended as they deal with legal matters, and because they are legal matters, Ed Orgeron doesn't comment on them.
Well, and you mentioned the quarterback decision to transfer, and those situations, that all precipitated that players only meeting as well.
Back to the pistol for Burrow, the son of a coach. His dad, Jimmy, longtime defensive coordinator, Ohio U. He's here tonight. The handoff to Nick Brossette. All kinds of running room. Off to the races. From 50 yards. Brossette in high school ran for 141 touchdowns, the state record by a mile. 118 had been the record by Kenny Hilliard, who went on to play at LSU. But now Brossette, a senior, just scored his first touchdown as a college player as a senior out of University High School in Baton Rouge.
Perfect call by Steve Ensminger against that Miami defense.
Extra point up and good from the former Assumption Greyhound, Cole Tracy.
Watch the defense. Jaquan Johnson is going to blitz from here. Watch the guard pick up the linebacker. Watch the other guard pick up the safety, and this linebacker fell too far outside. The perfect call against this defense, and downfield blocks by the 2 guards spring the running back for an easy touchdown for LSU. Miami very aggressive, trying to come after the quarterback. They got caught in the blitz that time, and it turned into a big running play for the Tigers.
By Brossette. With that run, had more than half as many yards as he had all last season, backing up Darius Geis. He rushed for 96 yards all of last year. He is their leading returning rusher.
Damian Lewis, the right guard. Garrett Brumfield, the left guard. Outstanding blocks at the 2nd and 3rd level of that Miami defense on that play.
There's Avery Atkins, true freshman out of Auburn, Alabama. Jeff Thomas and DJ Dallas back deep. Thomas takes a knee. Another good kickoff by the true freshman. Well, it's tennis's final major of the year. It's the 50th U.S. Open. It continues tomorrow. Among those in action, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and Maria Sharapova. Don't miss the round of 16 matches on ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, followed by our primetime coverage at 7. I watched a lot of the tennis today.
Yeah.
Rafael Nadal had a terrific match. Serena was fun to watch as always. Love the tennis.
Yeah. Are you a player or just like to watch?
That was my sport when I was a kid.
Okay. Now you're a golfer.
My modesty prevents me from saying I was a ranked junior player in New England. If I was immodest, perhaps I would say that. Humility being one of my greatest strengths, I'm not going to bring that up. Amon Richards made the catch for Miami and almost got a first down, just inches shy of the yard line to make. We're coming toward the end of the quarter. Miami doesn't have to snap it again, and they do just as the quarter was ending. Good decision on the read by Rozier. He has the first down and more, but there is another flag back at the 36-yard line. Lots of stops and starts in this first quarter. This is an accepted penalty. It'll be the 6th, 3 against each team.
Holding. Offense, number 78. It's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 2nd down. We'll have 1 untimed down.
Tyree St. Louis got caught with his left hand. Watch at the end of this play. The left hand just going to grab the jersey of Michael Divinity, and that's where the penalty occurred. That's costly. You run that play with 1 second, you might as well let the timeout get to the sideline. Instead, they back themselves up.
Talented young offensive line behind some of these veteran starters. They'll transition to some of the most highly recruited linemen in the country when guys like St. Louis are done. Rozier into double coverage, looking for Cager. Greedy Williams back in the game.
That's the end of the first quarter.
After being dinged up not long ago, still twisting that right arm around as if there's something wrong. End of the first quarter, LSU leading Miami 10-3. Sunday night kickoff presented by NHTSA. We'll continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at AT&T Stadium, LSU leading Miami 10-3 as we head to the second quarter.
That last play, now I know there's a free safety right there, but on this post route, Malik Rozier, he needs to throw that ball here to let his receiver run to it. He has a tendency to throw that back over the other shoulder. It's very difficult for a receiver to adjust to that. Yes, there's a free safety there, but let your guy run to the football. And Mark Richt told me that's the one route that he has a little bit of problem throwing down the field and not leading him back towards the middle where the guy can run to it.
Third down and 11 on the first play of the second quarter. And they still cannot convert a third down. Brian Hightower, the catch, got close to the marker but didn't quite get there. A couple of yards short. And now they're waving it off for an incomplete pass.
Well,
with Christian Fulton in coverage.
Yeah, third and long, and they played zone. They normally play man, but they played zone and forced the underneath throw and then made the tackle on the line at the sideline. But it was incomplete anyway.
So they're 0 for 4 on third down. After a 2 for 10 in the Orange Bowl against Wisconsin and a 3 for 16 in the ACC title game against Clemson. Hoping for improvement, haven't experienced it so far yet on third down. Here's Zach Fiegels, the son of the great Jeff Fiegels, Miami alum, 22-year outstanding punter in the NFL. He's here tonight. He didn't like that one from his offspring. Short kick out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Now let's take a look at two more in a jiffy, brought to you by Jimmy Lou.
Well, we talked about Joe Burrow being the son of a coach. He is going to see this safety, Jaquan Johnson, show blitz. And when he sees that, he's going to change the play. He's changing it to a run away from the safety blitz. And it just so happened they caught Miami perfectly in the movements and the blocks downfield. And instead of just going from a bad play to a good play, they went to a touchdown.
They go under center on 1st and 10. Here's Chris Curry sliding out across the 44. Gain of 2. Joe Jackson on the tackle for the Canes.
Dara Traore is still in at that right tackle position for Adrian McGee.
That was a battle in the summer camp. Traore, number 74, mammoth, 6'7", 323 pounds, out of Hyde Park, Massachusetts, great city of Boston. Quick pop to Justin Jefferson, and he's dumped by Jaquan Johnson after a gain of 2 more.
You see why Jaquan Johnson, even though he's not built like your prototypical free safety, he plays much bigger than his size suggests. Very sure tackler, 96 tackles a year ago, and that was just form tackling out in space on a very nifty wide receiver.
He was their leading tackler last year. They bring their top 5 tacklers back from that excellent defense of a year ago. 3rd down and 6, 13 and a half to go till halftime. Burrow being chased to the sideline, cuts it up the field and gets within a yard of the first down. Michael Jackson the stop, and Ed Orgeron has a decision to make on 4th down and 1 just across midfield.
Well, he's bringing heavy personnel in. He's not taking long to make this decision. Wouldn't be surprised to see the quarterback under center and maybe even go to a long count here and see if they can draw Miami off sides.
Well, he said let's go if you read his lips, so I think they're not just going to line up and try to draw him off. I think they're going to do it. Torrey Carter is in at fullback in front of Nick Brossette. They are running out of time. They snap it with one. Brossette dodged some traffic behind the line of scrimmage and just did get the first down.
Well, nice job again by Joe Burrow, working the time clock, changing the play, getting it to Brossette. He follows the fullback, and he runs out of the tackle of Gerald Willis. Now's a perfect time, Sean, I think, after getting that on 4th down, go max protection with a play action and try to see if you can pop one deep down the field.
Brossette, the lone back. Carter, the fullback, lined up at the end of the line, trying to lead the way for Brossette, who got knocked forward to the 43 of Miami. 12 minutes to go in the half, and LSU leading 10-3 in the first meeting between these two schools since the 2005 Peach Bowl, which the Tigers won in a rout 40-3. It was an ugly night for Miami.
Really nice block on that play by Foster Moreau, the tight end, wearing that number 18, that coveted number 18 jersey for LSU, leading the way on that play.
Chris Curry ran into Willis, and Willis didn't miss that time. Curry tried to bounce away, and Scott Patchen made sure he did not.
Very good first step quickness. Here's Willis. He's just going to step to the outside. The tackle doesn't get the block on him. That looks like a miscommunication up front. You don't want to turn that guy loose. He's the most disruptive guy on the inside of that Miami defense. A New Orleans native, and made a big play there.
Played 1 year at the University of Florida, did Willis. 3rd down and 10. Burrow, after a short set, throw behind the receiver. Nice catch made by Giles.
Great effort after the catch by Giles.
So get within about a yard of the first down. Al Blades made the tackle.
Well, they did it once. Why not do it again? 4th and short. Last time Joe Burrow tried to survey the defense and see where the opening of the soft spot appeared it would be.
Brossette, the running back.
There's the free one there.
Burrow with the hard count, got some movement. Then they snapped it and lost the ball, but there were already flags down.
Now that's one where Joe has to have his hands ready all the time, because you tell the center, as soon as you feel somebody get into the neutral zone, you go ahead and snap the football. And in the event that they don't make that call, the quarterback has to secure the snap.
Offside. Defense, number 94. 5-yard penalty. Yardage results in the first down.
Tito Odenigbo, graduate transfer from the University of Illinois, gives them some much needed depth up front.
With so many plays and offenses with the quarterback in the shotgun, the snap count is so underutilized anymore. But when you get under center and you can vary your snap count and use your voice inflection, it's a great way to steal yardage.
They are now in field goal range. Burrow under pressure, threw it away with Demetrius Jackson coming on quickly. Well, Ed Orgeron was thrilled to wind up with Burrow. Burrow went through spring practice at Ohio State. He was a very highly recruited player out of Athens, Ohio. He's Mr. Football in Ohio, but waited for 3 years. Then in the spring competed with Dwayne Haskins. We saw yesterday with Dwayne Haskins.
Hard to argue who won that battle.
And he said, Joe told us, the coaches told me he would still be up for grabs in the fall, but I could see the writing on the wall. He decided after talking to his dad, it was time to transfer out, get a chance to play. Here's Brossette. Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator, said LSU will check your oil up the middle every now and then, and they've done it effectively.
This is just power. Block down, watch the right guard, Brumfield, come up and lead the way through. Just straight north-south running.
Burrow has them up quickly, has a man caught at the pylon. Jamar Chase.
I think they're going to say he was out before he crossed the pylon, just inside the 1-yard line.
Yeah, they confirmed there was no signal.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch. First down.
A little stop and go, a little stutter step by Chase is what beat Javonte Dean.
Well, LSU is racing up to the line, and Brissett scores a touchdown. Looked like it might have been a touchdown on the previous play had it been reviewed. But it doesn't matter now. Brissett, who hadn't scored in his entire career, has 2 touchdowns in the first game of his senior season.
The running game that had been pretty silent early in this game starting to come alive for LSU. Brissett showing good, strong running, good push up front, the left side. Brumfield and Charles, and another touchdown for the Tigers.
11-play, 58-yard drive. LSU sharp in this opening half of the season. Here's Cole Tracy, who didn't miss an extra point. 67 attempts at Assumption last year for Coach Bob Chesney, right down the middle.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they might have, they'd have taken a look at this, it might have been for a touchdown, but I think LSU felt like the Miami team was deflated and just wanted to line up and pound it right at them. And they got the touchdown anyway.
See, his foot's in, then it hits the pylon. That was
a
ball
come out though. I don't know if he.
I thought the ball came loose after he hit the pylon, and once he hit the pylon, if the ball's breaking the plane of the goal line, even extended, we have a touchdown.
But did he have possession?
I thought he had it with the catch.
Can we see it again? Yeah, I just wonder if he ever really fully had the catch.
If he finished the process?
Yeah. I don't know if this is the best angle to see it, but. Yeah, that ball.
Possibly you got a point there. Maybe he did lose
This
it.
would be a much better angle, I think.
He hit the pylon before he lost the ball, right?
Ball slipping around between his hands. You think so?
I think it's a catch.
Touchdown. Yeah, I have a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's a touchdown too.
All right.
But you might be right on your point.
Well, I watched,
he didn't want to take
the Orange Bowl last year, and they dogged you. They screwed you up in the beginning
they
of
sure
that game.
did. That's
really
that's the
weird.
play.
Remember the ball was barely moving.
Yeah.
On a fumble at the beginning of the game. You, Greasy, everybody said that's not going to be a fumble.
Yeah, I was trying to think what that play was. I was talking to him about that earlier. It was like that's.
Nothing can keep you from being blimp worthy. Goodyear more driven. Roof closed at Jerry World tonight. Temperature in the 90s outside. Another touchback off the foot of Avery Atkins. Well, the touchdown a moment ago set up by a 22-yard catch by Jamar Chase, and maybe some question about whether he had possession of the ball. That might be, Todd, the reason why LSU ran up to the line to snap it fast, because they were afraid that might be overturned.
Yeah, could have been. I thought it was just maybe they thought Miami was a little deflated after the long catch. I thought it could have been called a touchdown. As soon as he hit that pylon with control. Nevertheless, they got the touchdown.
Yeah, Bill Lamagnier, our rules expert, thought it was the correct call of a catch. Great view from the progressive pylon cam. First time we've said that this year. We're still not quite in midseason form yet either. DJ Dallas, the ball carrier, and Devin White made the tackle. So far, so good for the new LSU quarterback. Can the veteran, returning starter Malik Rozier get Miami going? So many similarities to last year, Todd. Slow starting offense, dreadful on third down.
Offense, number 55, moving prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, second down.
And now 5 Miami penalties. This one against Navon Donaldson, who's moved from guard to tackle this year.
One of the reasons that I don't think Miami is quite ready to be back to that national championship level is I don't think they have a dominant offensive line. I think when their teams were great, they had the same kind of defense and speed, but they had a dominant offensive line as well. They don't quite have it. I think they will. I think they've got some really good young talent, but they don't have the ability right now to control the line of scrimmage. And we're seeing that in the early part of this game.
They have 3 true freshman offensive linemen who are backups who they think are going to be stars. Rozier runs across the 30. Cleveland Reed, John Campbell, DJ Scaife, all very highly recruited offensive linemen. And Mark Richt said, when they're ready to go, we will be a dominant offensive line.
And I think then that doesn't put all the pressure on your quarterback, and it doesn't put you in as many difficult third down situations because the run is always a threat. Now, this is a manageable third down where run is just as effective as a pass.
It's a run with DJ Dallas. And they're 0 for 5 on third down. Rashard Lawrence stopped him a yard short of the line to make.
This is an elite level LSU defense. I really think this is the best defense that Miami will play all season unless they make it back to the ACC championship game and play Clemson again. They have a similar defense, but this LSU defense is outstanding. They've got star players at all 3 levels of the defense.
Here's Zach Fiegels to kick it to Jonathan Giles. Another short, wobbly punt, end over end and out of bounds along the near sideline. Last one looked similar, went 34 yards. They're going to spot this one at the 44-yard line. A punt of 22. In 2001, Ed Orgeron, the head coach at LSU, was an assistant coach at Miami for 2 of those national titles. Coached the defensive line. You'd look like a pretty good coach if you were coaching Warren Sapp and Russell Maryland and Cortez Kennedy. That's really where Ed made a name for himself. His team up 17-3 and out firing, wide open receiver Justin Jefferson. Lost the ball, but he was well out of bounds at the end of the play. Burrow on target for 37, much of it on the run.
Really good pass protection. Because of the motion, they weren't able to press cover on Jefferson. He had off coverage. The corner had outside leverage, and that in route was an easy throw and catch for Burrow. But it started with excellent protection and a nice first down throw. And I think this is a critical possession for the Miami defense. They have got to make something happen here because their offense is struggling.
And Burrow really managing the line of scrimmage several times like a seasoned veteran.
See, that's a guy who's got a dad for a coach. I'm telling you.
Offside. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I thought it was interesting. Manny Diaz described Joe Burrow. He says he grew up in the game. His dad being a defensive coordinator, not an offensive coordinator, but a defensive coordinator. He knows little things to do that disrupt the defense. And that was a big play.
1st and 5. Already up by 2 touchdowns with 6.5 to go in the half. Some missed tackles and a tough run. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. First down inside the 10. 7-yard gain.
I think Miami was going for a strip there. Instead of just making a tackle in the hole, they were trying to rip the football out. They're feeling a little sense of desperation, I think. And LSU capitalized with a good, strong run inside.
Well, the defense scuffled at the end of last year as well. Obviously, some of that hand in hand with the difficulty the offense had. Here's Edwards-Helaire inside the 5. Tackling certainly hasn't been very good on the Miami side. Shaquille Quarterman managed to get Edwards-Helaire to the turf.
I think the difference in this ball game in the first half right now is the offensive line of LSU is having their way much better than the Miami offensive line.
The new starter at center, Lloyd Cushenberry. Edwards-Helaire stopped by Jaquan Johnson. 3rd down and goal for LSU as we go under 5.5 minutes to go in the first half.
LSU now up to 83 yards rushing here in the first half. Not huge numbers, but enough to have excellent balance. They have better balance in their offense right now than Miami does.
It wasn't necessarily a popular decision in Louisiana when Ed Orgeron put Steve Ensminger back as offensive coordinator, but the results speak for themselves. Burrow hit as he throws, and it is incomplete. Diving catch made by Jefferson, but apparently out of bounds.
Well, just a nice job getting rid of the football by Joe Burrow.
4th down.
Shaq Quarterman was pressuring and forcing the throw and avoiding the sack was an important play right there by Joe Burrow. Make this a more reasonable field goal opportunity.
For Cole Tracy, native of Southern California, went nearly 3,000 miles to kick at Division II Assumption
The
College.
ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. That plays under further review.
If they give him the catch, it might be a 1-yard gain. It wasn't a touchdown.
You mentioned earlier the problems as we take a look at the replay. There you see Burrow just getting rid of the football, avoiding the sack. Jefferson trying to work back to the ball.
Well, we have progressive pylon cam. We also have official hat cam. I'd say he had a pretty good look at it, and
it looks to me like when the catch was made, both feet were off the ground.
Does hat cam have a sponsor? The pylon, progressive. Maybe, this is a great advertising opportunity for some company.
Sure.
I think hat cam could be the wave of the future. Should we bring in Bill LeMonnier? Bill, what say you, my friend?
I have the same thing you had. At the time, it may have initially hit his hand when his foot was down, but it was in a bobble mode. He's off the ground in the air. He comes down with the ball out of bounds. This is an incomplete pass.
And let me ask you this. Are you surprised they're even reviewing this?
Yes, that was
it's going to be a 1-yard gain if they give him the catch.
That would be my point is even close to the goal line, I don't see this being an important one to stop.
A little more time for the new kicker, Tracy, to think about it. Kicked for 3 years in a field at Assumption College called Multi-Sport Stadium, and if you see it, it was a multi-sport stadium. Men's and women's soccer, lacrosse, the field hockey team, they all played out there with 1,200 seats. He's in Jerry World tonight, and he hasn't missed. That's good from 21. Great start to the year for the LSU Tigers. Bell and the Liv Moss student section selection committee. They're on the lookout for passionate fans like these all year long. No more passionate fans than what they have in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. Yeah. That's not the loudest stadium in the country. I don't know what's louder.
Such a cool place, too. Just being down there this week, even though there wasn't a game, just looking out and seeing that stadium at night, it's just spectacular.
Freshman Avery Atkins doing a nice job. That's another touchback. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, for Miami to get going, Malik Rozier has to have a better game. Coach Rick told us last year that he was frustrated with how the quarterbacks were taking this too seriously. He said, I shouldn't care more about their performance than they do. And by all accounts, Malik Rozier has been different this spring. He's told us he's completely revamped his preparation. He's totally revamped his leadership. Watched a ton of game film to get ready for this moment, but he's got to come alive against this very good LSU defense and do it quickly if his preparation is truly different.
Well, I think, Holly, he needs some help from the offensive line. I think it starts up there. They're having a difficult time with this front seven of LSU.
A very talented LSU defense. Good work by Travis Homer. Looked like he was doomed behind the line of scrimmage. He kept it alive and ran for a first down out to the 42-yard line. Tackled by Grant Delpit.
I mean, Rozier right now is at 50%, 6 of 12. He hasn't made a critical mistake. He's had trouble on third down, but their inability to control the line of scrimmage has been their biggest problem. That was an excellent run on that first down play.
And LSU brings pressure off the corner. It's deflected and intercepted. This is going to be a touchdown for Jacob Phillips.
I think it was Ed Alexander lined up over the nose, number 99, who got a hand on the football and deflected that. Pressure was coming from the outside, but the deflection came from the inside. That must be the turnover towel that they put on Jacob Phillips. But Ed Alexander, the backup nose guard, with the play of the game.
Tracy bangs through the extra point. It is all Tigers. 45-yard interception return by Jacob Phillips, a sophomore from Nashville, Tennessee. His first career interception. Visiting ESPNplus.com. The ESPN app came around. It was one of the greatest things ever for sports fans. I think everybody watching this tonight, or a lot of them have it. You want ESPN Plus too.
Well, here's what Malik Rozier saw. Corner blitz. That said he was going to throw hot, but this linebacker, Jacob Phillips, is just baiting him. He's not going man-to-man, and he's not blitzing. He's dropping right under the hot route. Rozier doesn't see him. He had an open receiver out wide, but that was baiting the quarterback with the corner blitz to throw hot right into the teeth of your defense.
Critically important possession here for Miami, just trying to stay in the game with 4:20 to go till halftime. Down by 24. They throw it to the perimeter to Darrell Langham, and he gets 8 on first down.
Nice block by Lawrence Cager. He's a big wide receiver blocking on the perimeter. 6'5", 220 pounds, and that's why that little bubble screen worked, because of the nice block by Cager.
2nd and 2. They do well to pick up the first down here because they still can't convert a third down. 0 for 5. 4 receivers spread the formation with DJ Dallas shifting to the left hip of Malik Rozier. On the delay, Dallas to the 40-yard line. Rashard Lawrence, another tackle. He's had a terrific first half for this LSU defense, winning the battle at the line of scrimmage, as Todd said. But you also wonder, Todd, about Malik Rozier. He didn't get a glowing vote of confidence in the offseason. The guy who engineered a 10-win campaign last year to have to fight for his job in the offseason says a lot about how they're thinking. You wonder how long Mark Richt would wait to make a change. DJ Dallas gets nothing. They can't block that one up front. Devin White and Jacob Phillips.
Well, one of the problems with that is one of the guys that they thought might compete and try to take the job from him this year, N'Kosi Perry, is not on the trip, serving a one-game suspension. So the backup quarterback is Cade Weldon. He was fighting for the number 2 spot. He's officially the number 2 guy tonight. They also
we asked if N'Kosi Perry would have been number 2 if he was here. Mark Richt didn't want to answer. He said it was for a disciplinary thing that happened months ago. He's straightened everything out since then. It's just one game. He'll be back for game 2. DJ Dallas, not much. Jacob Phillips, Devin White in on the stop. We mentioned the struggles. They started 10-0. They got up to number 2 in the country. They were the toast of college football. Then they lost to Pittsburgh, which was very surprising. No big disgrace in losing to Clemson and Wisconsin the last 2 games. But Rozier's numbers went way, way down. I think we started the telecast by asking, is the U back? They were determined to make that statement tonight and this season. I think the other question now, Todd, will become, was last year a bit of a mirage? Are they still mediocre?
Yeah.
Because even though they started 10-0, you mentioned it, they had a number of very close calls. They had a 4-game stretch when they won 4 in a row by a total of 18 points. And, you know, as you said, without all those turnovers, the season could have been a lot different last year from a negative standpoint.
I think they're better than mediocre. I really do. I think LSU's good. I think LSU is better coming into this game than people gave him credit for. Joe Burrow is playing well tonight. He's not making mistakes, and their defense is legit. I think the biggest problem for Miami is that their offensive line still has a long ways to go. Stacy Searles is an excellent offensive line coach. He was actually at LSU for a few years ago, but they're struggling right now trying to control the line of scrimmage. And right now, LSU is controlling the line on both sides of the football.
Going 10-0, they outscored their opponents by 160 points last season. In the 3-game losing streak plus this one tonight, they've been outscored by 79. Big 3rd down and 8. They're 0 for 5 on 3rd down tonight. Rozier with time. And Todd, Dave Aranda, the pass is incomplete over the head of Jeff Thomas. The defensive coordinator for LSU said to us, you don't hear a defense coordinator say this about the opponent very often. Miami doesn't have an intermediate passing game. It's RPOs or it's deep down the field, but there's nothing in the middle. And maybe if they had more of an intermediate game, they could convert some of these 3rd downs. Well,
that's what they showed last year, and I think that's that's something they've got to improve on. I think Malik Rozier has got a good arm. I think he can be an accurate thrower. That time he stepped up in the pocket and just sailed one.
Zach Fiegel's better effort this time. And that'll go out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Down to the field we go. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, Joe Burrow has been terrific for LSU tonight. The quarterback had options when he was transferring from Ohio State. He went and visited Cincinnati and was considering going there, but he said he came on his visit to LSU and 3 teammates drove over 3 hours to come and show him around campus. Caleb Von Chasen, Garrett Brumfield, and Foster Moreau. He said, I instantly fell in love with the place, and it meant a lot to me that they wanted me, that they would go to that. He said he came in a week early on a very first conditioning drill. He said, this will be the first impression I make. So he made sure to win as many of the conditioning drills as he could so they knew he was tough and he meant business. He said, I've never been so tired in my life, but left a good impression.
He did. The other players we talked to said that did get their attention right away. 54-yard punt by Fiegels. Tough field position for LSU. Miami has a couple of timeouts as Brosette gets stopped by Michael Jackson.
Miami takes their 2nd time out of the half. 30 seconds.
Minute 53 away from the Hulu halftime report. Busy weekend for Kevin Nagandi, Mac Brown, and Jonathan Vilma. They'll talk about Tua impressing in his first start for Alabama. First start of the season. A success in the win against Louisville last night in Orlando. Are the Irish poised for a playoff push after the win against Michigan last night? And they'll review some standout quarterback performances from yesterday. None better than the man who basically beat out Joe Burrow to be the Ohio State quarterback. 77 points, 5 touchdowns for Dwayne Haskins yesterday.
You know, it's interesting. You know, last year we had the quarterback crop that had so many guys go in the first round, and it's a different quarterback class this year, but I think it's deeper. I think there's outstanding quarterbacks all across college football, and I think the SEC has the best group they've had in a long, long time.
Miami really needs a 3-and-out and a punt here, and they stop Brissett just across the 5-yard line, and they'll use the other timeout. Gerald Willis with penetration. Michael Pinckney also in on the stop for the Hurricanes.
Miami takes their third and final timeout of the half. This will be a 1-minute timeout.
Joe Burrow said when he went on that visit that Holly just mentioned, he wanted to make sure that LSU wasn't what he had in his mind from LSU teams of yesteryear.
Right.
Power eye, pound the football, run, run, run.
Yep.
He was convinced that they were going to be more creative, throw the ball around a lot more, and that was part of the decision making as well.
He's a very serious-minded guy. Steve Ensminger is a very serious-minded guy. But Steve Ensminger also is a former quarterback. Played quarterback at LSU, likes to throw the football around, likes to have balance. And so far, at least through the first 30 minutes of this opening game, it appears to be a pretty nice marriage between those two.
Ensminger, fine quarterback at LSU back in the late 70s. He said he wasn't sure he was going to take the job when Ed Orgeron offered him the coordinator job back. He said, I had to think about my family. I'm in the building all day, but the coordinators take a lot of heat at a place like LSU. Boy, it looked like there was holding in the end zone there as Burrow got rid of it. And there is a flag down.
Sure is.
If it's in the end zone, it's a safety. Mark Richt, I think, is saying, hey, that was in the end zone. Mike DeFee saying, no, it wasn't.
It was Damian Lewis, the right guard, who just tackled Gerald Willis.
It was clear as day.
Offense number 68. That penalty's declined. 4th down. Clock will start on the snap.
Here's the hold right here. I mean, it is an Olay block and then a tackle.
I guess he started holding him before he got into the end zone.
He started holding him as soon as the ball was snapped.
Yes. So here's Zach von Rosenberg. The left-footed punter under duress. And a flag comes down. Apparently he got hit as he got the punt off.
What a costly mistake. I mean, I know that Miami's down to no timeouts, but you're going to get excellent field position. Give Malik Rozier a chance with 1:30 to try to get some points here before halftime. And now they may not.
Harley was the man putting the pressure on von Rosenberg.
Run.
Question is it 5 or 15? Maybe they're even talking about picking the flag up, says our Bill Lamagnier.
Running into the kicker on the defensive team. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll replay 4th down.
The punt wasn't very good, so Ed Orgeron would like another shot at that.
Wow.
Now the Miami fans hate the flag after they see the same replay you just saw.
Yeah, now after seeing it, I think Hartley took the right angle to the football. He didn't get a piece of it, but I think he took a clean angle. Shouldn't have been a penalty, I don't think.
So von Rosenberg will try again. High, wobbly, short, and DJ Dallas came running up to catch it. Probably fortunate he didn't get near it. And another flag down. Did they hit him again?
Well, Lawrence Cager got flipped up in the air. Did he leap?
Personal foul. Number 15 of the receiving team leaping the shield. That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
I said Cager. It was Greg Rousseau, number 15. He took off from behind the shield and tried to jump over it.
And that is one of the rules that Rogers Redding, Bill Lamagnier Dave Katai, all of our officiating experts talked about is something that was going to be paid very close attention to this year.
And that penalty is called for the safety of number 15 in Miami. I mean, that's why they have, gone back and changed some of those rules. It's not to penalize him as much as it is to protect him.
Well, a dreadful ending to an awful first half for Miami. They are going to finish the half with having been penalized 8 times and without a third down conversion. 0 for 6, led by Malik Rozier. Meanwhile, Joe Burrow in his first start for LSU, efficient, showed his smarts. They had a little problem, had to burn a couple of timeouts early in the half, but he used the hard count effectively. Went 8 for 16 for 101 yards. Didn't turn it over.
Nope. Didn't make a big mistake. Threw the ball away when he needed to throw it away. Got a couple offsides using his snap count. Very efficient first half for Joe Burrow.
A nice mix of the run and pass. Not huge numbers. 181 yards of offense. 101 through the air. The LSU fans send their team to the locker room with a standing ovation. The Miami fans out in full force, impressively so tonight, a long way from South Florida. They're stunned. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach, early in the game you had to call some timeouts with procedural issues, but how did your quarterback settle down and start to find his rhythm?
He's done a good job. We had to get him out there a little bit faster, new clock rules. I thought Steve did a great job. We got physical, we ran the football, played LSU football.
Everybody told us this would be running back by committee, but what do you see from Nick Brossette out there, 2 scoring touchdowns?
The same thing I've seen all camp. It's his senior year. It's his time. He's a good running back.
Thank you, Coach.
Go Tigers.
The Hulu halftime report coming your way right after these messages. LSU in the first half, they lead Miami 27-3. We take a look at our first half stats brought to you by Experian Identity Protection. Miami's been in the witness protection program here in the first half. Not a lot good happened for the Hurricanes in that half.
Yeah, well, neither offense is really lighting it up, but a couple more mistakes for Miami, whether it's penalties, the turnover. I think Miami's got to do a couple things. They're going to kick off here. They've got to find a way to create a turnover. That was a big part of their success. They got to get some energy and some juice. And then when they get the football, they have to find a way to get it in the hands of Amon Richards because he's their most dynamic player. He was only targeted 2 times in that first half.
He was a total non-factor in that first half. The 8 penalties that you saw on the Experian Identity Protection stats certainly hurt the Canes as well, and LSU will get the ball first. That big touchdown run of 50 yards by Nick Brossette broke a 3-3 tie, led to a 24-0 scoring spurt by LSU. Bubba backs his kickoff, is a touchback, and here's Holly Rowe a moment ago with Mark Richt.
Coach Richt, I know you'd worked so hard in the offseason on third down conversion, but 0 for 6 tonight. What do you want to change there?
Well, with shorter third downs would be helpful. You know, a lot of self-inflicted wounds. Get a 2nd and 1, and then you get a penalty, a holding penalty after we convert. Just a lot of those little things, jumping off sides. Just about everything that could have gone wrong, almost everything went wrong. But I think the line's protected pretty good. We've had some good runs. We just got to sustain the drive still on third downs, like you said.
Thanks, Coach.
Nick Brossette avoided a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and the first play from scrimmage of the second half for LSU goes for 9. Jaquan Johnson and Devontae Dean made the tackle.
Michael Pinckney, usually a very sure tackler, one of those starting linebackers, was the guy who got behind the line of scrimmage, just not able to get Brossette down to the ground, and it turned into a 9-yard gain.
Joe Burrow making his first career start at the college level after 2 years as a backup and a redshirt year prior to that at Ohio State. Brissett dumped to the line of scrimmage by Gerald Willis and Mike Smith.
Really nice play chasing that down by Willis. A real big guy with quickness, over 300 pounds, but showed great quickness moving down the line of scrimmage on that play for a tackle behind the line. Good chance for this Miami defense right here. Third down, third and short. Get a stop, and get off the field in 3 plays.
They're focused on the woes of the third down offense for Miami dating back to last year. They weren't good on third down on defense either. Did they get the stop? They hit Brissett shy of the line to make, and it looks like they're going to mark him down about a half-yard short. Again, Gerald Willis in on the stop. It'll be 4th down and a half-yard.
Ed Orgeron went for it twice in the first half, but in this position with the lead, you got to punt the football. So a good 3 and out by the Miami defense.
There's Zach Von Rosenberg to punt. Punted only once in the first half, and it was a good one, 44 yards. DJ Dallas back to receive it for Miami. They don't come after the punt, setting up for return, but excellent coverage by LSU, and DJ Dallas forced to make a fair catch at the 15-yard line. It's a 51-yard punt. Time for tonight's Pacific Life game summary.
Malik Rozier, 7 of 15. The interception, the only turnover of the ball game, but it was costly. A tipped pass at the line of scrimmage. That was LSU's last touchdown. Nick Brissett, 79 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Joe Burrow doing a nice job changing some plays at the line of scrimmage, managing the run game, managing protections. And a 24-point lead for LSU.
Can Miami get the offense started and make a game of it? Rozier given a pocket, back to airing it out deep. Catch made, but it appeared Cager was out of bounds, and he was, with Greedy Williams in coverage. Williams left for a while in the first half. Holly Road told us they actually took his shoulder pads off, looked at his shoulder and upper ribs, and obviously he's back in. He's one of the best in the country.
Greedy Williams does a perfect job just kind of running him out of bounds. You know, Cager, as big as he is, he's got to fight for that position a little bit better. He can't allow Williams to work him all the way to the sideline like that with nowhere to catch the football.
5 receivers spread the formation. Four-man rush. Rozier over the middle, and it's caught for a first down by Jeff Thomas.
Nice job by Thomas continuing to come back to the football. Greedy Williams in coverage again, and he was pretty tight on Thomas. Thomas did a really nice job just working back to the ball and shielding the defender with his body.
A 13-yard gain and a first down for Miami. Movement, but the Tigers got back. Rozier off running, pinballed around and swung down just across the 30 by Devin White. Caleb on chasing the linebacker up there around the line of scrimmage, managed to get back on his side of the line prior to the snap. Dave Aranda was raving about him. He has a lot of talent on that defense, but he said Chasen is the best combination of smarts and athletic ability. And he looks the part too at 6'4", 238, a sophomore out of Houston. Pressure from the other side. Delpit, the safety, up there to drop it for a loss. He loves to play up around the line of scrimmage, and he's done so effectively tonight. He dumped Travis Homer.
See, this is a play that Rozier needs to see the defense and maybe get away from the pressure. Call that run to the other side. If you sense it's coming, don't run right into that safety blitz. There's just too many white shirts there, and you get a negative yardage play. Sometimes audibles are just getting away from a bad play as much as it is getting to a great play.
0 for 6 tonight. They have averaged 8 yards to go on third down. That was a problem last year as well. Not going to be good on third down when you typically have that far to go. More movement along the line of scrimmage. Mike DeFee out of the Big 12, the referee.
False start. Offense. Number 62. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Hayden Mahoney, redshirt junior out of Malvern Prep in Malvern, Pennsylvania. A lot of terrific football players have come from that school over the years. So now it's even longer on third down. 9 penalties for Miami. We're barely into the second half.
And LSU will probably play very safe here. Kind of a zone coverage, trying to keep everything thrown underneath and make a sure tackle.
Hurricanes have more penalties than first downs. They have 8 first downs. Rozier. That never had a chance. Run across the sideline by Christian Fulton.
Well, they got caught in a bad matchup. They were trying to block Chesson, the best pass rusher, with the back Travis Homer. And that's what forced Rozier to have to leave the pocket. You're not going to make much hay blocking that guy with your running back.
Zach Fiegels to punt. He was busy in the first half, punted 4 times and averaged just 32.5 per punt. Jonathan Giles back deep. Good kick, a boomer. Sending Giles back inside the 25. Running room up the hash marks. And he brought it back to the 44. Tackled by Travis Homer, starting running back out there on punt coverage. Brad transferred. Then over the summer, as we mentioned, when Ed Orgeron said that Burrow and Miles Brennan were ahead of the other 2 quarterbacks, McMillan and Narcisse, that same day, they announced they were transferring. That really rocked the program, led to that players only meeting we talked about in the first half. But no ill effects for LSU. They are sharp tonight, particularly the new quarterback, Joe Burrow, with a strike for a first down into Miami territory to the 33-yard line, a gain of 24.
Well, it's very safe play. It's a first down play action, max protection. You keep the tight end in, you keep a back in. It's basically a 2-man route with an outlet, and Burrow delivers a strike.
4th catch of the night for Justin Jefferson. Quick hitter.
Boy, I like this. LSU came out in this possession, and they're showing heavy lineup. Like this is a run formation. Tight ends, not 3 and 4 wideouts. They're under center. In the first 2 plays, they've thrown the football, and they really put this Miami defense back on their heels in 2 plays.
D. Anderson, the last catch, the homecoming for D. He was excited to come here tonight. He's from DeSoto, Texas, about 20 miles away from AT&T Stadium. 2nd and short. Nick Brossette high stepping inside the 20, inside the 10 and out of bounds just shy of the 5-yard line.
This is just a great cutback. Good vision by Brossette. And number 22 for Miami loses leverage. He had to Sheldrick Redwine, the safety. That's his responsibility to maintain leverage, and he missed a tackle. And Brossette was able to just take it out the backside for a big gain.
Steve Ensminger said it would be running back by committee. That plan might change with the emergence of Brossette tonight. He wants to follow along the lines of Geis and Fournette and Hill and so many other terrific running backs from longer ago. Guys like Stephen Ridley, Kevin Falk back in the late 90s. They've had a long run of featured backs. Perhaps Brossette is becoming that guy tonight.
Kevin Falk, I ran into him in the football building the other day. He's on staff now, is working with player development. Happy to be back at LSU.
Brossette now over 100 yards rushing with 101. 2nd and goal. LSU. Willis bats the pass out of the air. It's an incomplete pass. Even though it was clearly an incomplete pass, they chased the ball out near the 30. Now there's a Miami player who is in pursuit of the ball well after the whistle, who's down. It's Jonathan Garvin, their starting defensive end.
I think it was friendly fire, too. I think it was one of his own players that ran into him as they were pursuing that incomplete pass. Impressive drive right here by LSU. A couple nice pass plays with max protection, then the nice run, and now they're inside the 5-yard line.
I tell you, deserves a lot of credit is the offensive coordinator, Steve Ensminger.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier, longtime member of the staff. When Ed Orgeron was made the interim coach a couple of years ago, he made Ensminger the offensive coordinator. Point totals, the yardage totals jumped way up. They went 6-2.
Yeah.
Ed wanted to obviously keep the job for the long haul, and Steve said, I understood when he went out and got Matt Canada. You know, this was his shot at his dream job. He had to go get the best guy available. So after 1 year was a bad marriage with Canada, they turned back to Ensminger, and you got to like that attitude.
Absolutely. And he was very happy just coaching tight ends, being at his alma mater. You know, I mean, he was comfortable with that.
A lot of Tiger fans weren't sure that was the right decision. They have 27 on the board against this Miami defense. Not even midway through the third quarter. Trying to throw it to the fullback, Torrey Carter. And Quan Johnson had the coverage.
Well, he missed Foster Moreau. I mean, he made the good decision to throw the ball away. Joe Burrow's done that all night to avoid the sack and the negative play. But he had Foster Moreau in the back of the end zone that he could have got it to him for a touchdown.
So now Cole Tracy, after a brutal field goal kicking year last year for LSU, they used 2 different kickers who went 16 for 27. That's awful in today's day and age of excellent field goal kicking. Tracy's had a terrific debut, and that one's good from 21 yards.
What a difference a year makes, huh? Wow.
That's his 3rd field goal of the night. Midway through the third quarter, 30-3 LSU. Dallas Cowboys not enjoying this tonight. Miami getting throttled by LSU. It's 30-3 as Avery Atkins kicks off. Nothing but touchbacks tonight for Atkins. This one's squibbed and returnable for Jeff Thomas. And Miami will start at the 31. Well, a big problem last year for LSU, the kicking. They went out and got one of the best available guys in the country. Here's Cole Tracy. We talk about the contrast between Jerry World tonight, his first game at LSU. That's his home field the last 3 years at Assumption College. Yes, that was a forest in one end zone, and that looks like housing at the other end. That's Multi-Sport Stadium in beautiful Worcester, Massachusetts. Jerry World, they've put 105 people in here, 105,000 people in here for football games in the past. Cowboys Giants 2009, 105,000 plus. But he was not at all bothered by the surroundings. He's 3 for 3 tonight. Malik Rozier throws it away. I spoke with his coach Bob Chesney, who actually left Assumption after last year, is now the coach at Holy Cross, and he's not the least bit surprised. He said this young man is a great talent and very poised, and he encouraged Tracy to leave. Even though at the time Bob Chesney thought he was coming back to Assumption. He said this is a real opportunity now for you to show your talents where a lot more people are going to see it. You should go.
Yeah. Well, he is off to an excellent start.
Won the Fred Mitchell Award as the best kicker in the country in FCS football, D2 or D3. On the delay, DJ Dallas weaving near a first down. Looks like they're going to spot him just shy of the marker. Tracy went 27 for 29 last year. It's possible, we don't have the attendance here tonight, but it's possible that Cole Tracy tonight, the field goal kicker for LSU, will be playing in front of more people than attended every game that he kicked in at Assumption for 3 years.
Home and away, or just
home and away? He kicked in 38 games at Assumption. They had a terrific team. They won 11 games last year. They were in the D2 playoffs. And Bob Chesney, by the way, remember that name if you're one of these football geeks who likes to predict who the next great coaches are going to be. did a great job at Salve Regina, where they have been weighed down. A great job the last 5 years at Assumption. 5 winning seasons. They had only won 2 winning seasons in 17 years before he got there. But Tracy played in front of a total of 77,000 people in 38 games, home and away.
I guess what just happened here, Sean, Miami converted a 3rd down.
Yes, well, you missed that milestone. Stop the game and give them the ball. They're now 1 for 8 on 3rd down. That Rozier pass too high for Darrell Langham.
DJ Dallas coming off the field with a little injury, trying to block Chesson on that pass play. LSU is very content at this point now to just rush 3 or 4, play safe, don't let anything over the top of your defense, force Rozier to throw everything underneath. Not going to give any easy ones away here with the kind of lead that they have.
Rozier hit 5 of his first 7 passes, 3 for 12 since. Travis Homer out to the 45. He was a big part of their success a year ago. They had Mark Walton, who was one of the best running backs in the country. He got injured in the 4th game of the year, out for the rest of the year. Homer had really been a special teams player, and the coaches admitted they were surprised when he emerged as a very capable lead back who almost rushed for 1,000 yards in well less than a full season as the featured back. He ran for 966. Greedy Williams injured again for LSU.
This time it looks like he's cramping up in his left calf. It's DJ Dallas, who came off after pass protection.
Well, it's warm in the building, but it would be a lot warmer with that roof open. Busy time right around here. The Texas Rangers ballpark is right next door. They share parking lots, and they played an afternoon game at 2 o'clock. So it was a little bit tough to get in and out of here.
Yeah.
For this game tonight, with the Ranger crowd leaving and the football crowd coming in to this spectacular setting. There's the Rangers ballpark. Seems to me like it opened the other day, but they're building a new one. That's how close they are from the Goodyear blimp.
My guess is was a little warmer for the announcers in the booth during that game in the afternoon than for us tonight, right?
Yeah, this is climate controlled, as you might expect. They didn't miss a trick. I did a lot of baseball games in that park next door. It is not climate controlled. And that beautiful aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear, from the end zone to the uprights to the outfield wall. In fact, nothing comes between hard work and a goal. Goodyear, more driven. Can't wait for the fellas Marty Smith and Ryan McGee from the Goodyear blimp tomorrow night for the Virginia Tech Florida State game. As this Labor Day weekend of college football continues. Nice throw, good catch. Rozier to Lawrence Cager, and they're across midfield to the LSU 49-yard line. I would ask you this, Todd. It looks like they are going to speed it up. You know, there's 5.5 to go in the 3rd quarter, but you're down by 27 points. The operation probably needs to take on a little urgency here.
Absolutely. Doesn't mean you stop running the football, but you do need to pick up your pace.
Hard-earned yard for Travis Homer, now in his junior year out of West Palm Beach, driven back by Caleb Chasen and Kelvin Joseph.
And one thing we should mention for Miami, they've not had a lot of success running the football tonight. 82 yards. It's tough to run without a hard-nosed blocking tight end, and right now Miami, because of an injury to Michael Irvin, they're forced to play 2 true freshmen at tight end. And that's tough, asking those guys to block a defense like this in your running game.
Well, Michael Irvin suffered a preseason knee injury. A high throw. Rozier was hit as he threw it. It's intercepted. Being brought back by John Battle to the 40-yard line of Miami.
It was Delpit again, and he ran right by Tyree St. Louis. They had a guy assigned to block him, but St. Louis not quick enough to handle the safety blitz. Here comes Delpit right here. He's going to beat the left tackle and force the errant throw by Rozier. Hit as he throws, the ball sails, and there's the interception.
Second of the night for LSU. First one was brought back by Jacob Phillips late in the first half for a touchdown, 45 yards. That was a 28-yard return by Battle. Senior from Hallandale, Florida. They come after Burrow. He got hit as he throws, and it's dropped. Terrace Marshall was open and dropped it.
Good inside pressure by Gerald Willis.
Number 2 for LSU has to leave the game for illegal equipment.
You know what that is? That's the new rule about the knee pads. The pants have to go over the knees. When we had our seminar, the referees were talking to us about it. Rogers Redding, they were going to enforce. It's the first time I've seen it enforced all weekend. Uniform infraction. Cover those knees.
Well, Willis has been a force tonight up front for Miami. It was one of the hardest hits Burrow's taken this evening. Clyde Edwards-Helaire just shy of the 35-yard line, where it'll be third down after we hear from Holly Rowe.
Gerald Willis has made some great plays, as you said up front, Sean, and he's a great story. He sat out all of last season. They're going to go quick here. I'll get back to you in just a second.
All right, Holly. Burrow got it off before he was hit. Up for grabs. And caught. Or is it? No, it is not. Stephen Sullivan could not make the catch with Romeo Finley in coverage.
Pretty nice job by Finley getting that right hand up in there and just knocking the ball away. Good tight coverage. It was a good throw.
It was caught, but he was out of bounds. So here's Cole Tracy. From kicking into Forest to kicking into luxury suites. This is his longest attempt. It'll be a 54-yarder. Low line drive, and it's his night. Grazed the crossbar and went through.
I'd say signing this guy as a graduate transfer, pretty good decision by Ed Orgeron.
They were thrilled to get him. He and Burrow, both graduate transfers. Different. Friends, you can check out the alternate angle coverage from Xfinity Skycam by streaming live on ESPN3, on the ESPN app, and on Xfinity X1. Jeff Thomas on the return for Miami stumbles down after he crossed the 20. Well, more college football tomorrow night. The feast continues on this opening weekend. From Tallahassee, an ACC conference game to begin the year for 20th ranked Virginia Tech and number 19 Florida State. One of the new coaches this year, Willie Taggart, now with the Seminoles. He'll be kicking off his season on the College Football Megacast. ESPNU, ESPN News, ESPN3, all kinds of alternate productions. And Marty Smith and Ryan McGee in the Goodyear blimp. 1,000 feet above Doak Campbell Stadium.
I wonder if they'll have deer antlers and all that kind of stuff from their set.
Did you ever listen to their radio show?
Yeah,
it's quite southern.
Yeah, I know.
Some of us in Massachusetts have a hard time sometimes figuring out what they're talking about. Here's the quarterback matchup. DeAndre Francois, injured early last year. That played a part in a subpar season for the Seminoles. He earned the starting job back.
I'm excited to see him back. I remember him when he was healthy the year before. The thing that stood out, he was a tough dude. I mean, he got hit and hit and hit and hung in the pocket and made plays. Glad to see him back in action.
Rozier running for his life, threw it away. Jacob Phillips caused him the biggest problem. Here's Holly.
Well, guys, speaking of DeAndre Francois, I was actually at Florida State practice a couple of weeks ago, and the thing that you'll notice with this offense is the tempo. They were running plays about every 8 to 11 seconds at practice, so I'm curious to see how that patella tendon injury holds up with DeAndre. I've been closely following his rehab on his Instagram story, though. I know nobody in America's worked harder to get back, so we'll see how he does with that up-tempo offense.
And no one on the sideline works harder than Holly Rowe. Does she ever go home? Does she ever sleep?
She's got three different houses, so she can kind of pick and choose.
Whoop, that looked like a face mask.
Yeah,
that's a break for Miami because Phillips was there and it was going to be a sack and a loss, but it was a glaring face mask.
Yeah, this game is just turned into a bludgeoning right now.
Personal foul, face mask. defense number 6. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
Just a 4-man rush, but Phillips able to come free and just can't let go of the face mask. In great position for a sack. This will be a night that Malik Rozier will want to forget as quickly as possible.
And I think stunning to Miami. 14 starters back from that 10-win season last year. They won the ACC Coastal Division for the first time. They went into the ACC in 2004. They're the runaway pick to win it again this year. Ahead of Virginia Tech, who we'll see tomorrow night. Florida State in the other division, the Atlantic, picked to finish second behind Clemson. Everybody thinks Clemson's going to win the ACC, barring a big surprise. But is Florida State poised to come back?
We'll see. We'll see what they can do with their new coach, with Willie Taggart. I do think DeAndre Francois, if he can stay healthy, I think he gives them a chance. You know they're going to have the athletes and the defensive players and the speed to make a run at it, but Clemson just is so far out in front of everybody in that league right now.
Travis Homer, the ball carrier, to the 47-yard line as we go to 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Glenn Logan, the tackle for LSU.
And Miami certainly will play better than they've shown tonight, and they're plenty good enough and have the talent to win the ACC Coastal again. I mean, that is well within their reach. But when they've played the elite teams at the end of last year and in this team in LSU tonight, particularly defensively, they just don't match up very well.
3rd and 3 in the third quarter with the score 33-3. And a minute 30 to go and a flag. Saw Amon Richards. They need to get him back involved. One catch tonight.
Offense, number 55, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Levon Donaldson, you said it a couple times tonight. They think he's a dynamic playmaker. He says he's fully healthy after an injury-filled season a year ago, but he's been a total non-factor here tonight.
Yeah, 1 catch, 9 yards, 2 times they've thrown to him. I know LSU's got some guys who can cover, but I'm not sure they're good enough to completely take him out of the game.
He's not on the field for this 3rd down and 8. And they just throw a prayer up there, and it was answered this time. Jeff Thomas, the catch. Officials conferring they have a catch inbounds at the 26-yard line.
This is a phenomenal effort by Jeff Thomas. Keeps his eye on the ball, stops and goes up for it, and gets 1 foot down, which is all he needs.
Wow, tremendous.
Kerry Vincent was in coverage number 5, and he overran the play.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch. That plays under further review.
Meanwhile, John Battle on the ground, perhaps the latest with a cramp. Avid photographer. You know who knew that? Holly Rowe.
John Battle.
Yeah, she told us he took up photography a couple years ago. It was all over campus. But Holly was with you at practice the other day in Baton Rouge.
Right.
Then she did the WNBA game.
Right.
Was that Friday night?
Phoenix.
In Phoenix, the Mercury. America's team, the Phoenix Mercury.
Okay.
Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It's a catch, first down. We had a defensive injury. Play clock will be set to 40 seconds, and we'll wind the clock on my snap, on my signal.
I think they need to find a way to get Holly involved tomorrow night in the megacast.
Well, I would, except for your Phoenix Mercury, Sean, that I know you're a fan of.
Yes.
Forced to game 5, so I'm headed to Seattle. You can catch that on ESPN2 Saturday night, Phoenix versus Seattle.
Saturday night.
No, Tuesday night. Sorry.
Okay.
See, I'm a little turned around. I've been all over.
And you must have 4 games between now and Saturday night. So, well, I'm not allowed to be partial, but go Mercury. I guess that would be partial. Look out. Rozier avoided the blitz and stepped ahead to the 20-yard line. It was Jacoby Stevens who made the tackle after Patrick Queen came on the blitz. Well, back up to Devin White, was getting some playing time here, sophomore from Livonia, Louisiana.
And even if there's a lot of backups on the field for LSU, the starters are out there for Miami. And right now, they got to be thinking, we have got to get the ball in the end zone. We've got to get something good to happen for our offense and get a touchdown on the board.
They haven't been in the red zone tonight. Rozier got just to the 20 and then got blasted back by Queen and Jacoby Stevens, a sophomore from Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
That's the end of the third quarter.
The third quarter controlled by LSU.
62.
Sunday night kickoff presented. Heading to the Big Apple. That's Monday, which I believe would be tomorrow. Okay. Working on the holiday. That's impressive. Laboring on Labor Day. 10 a.m. from the new location on ESPN and the ESPN app. 3rd down and 4. Rozier. They convert a 3rd down. Nice. And he gets spun around a couple of times. 1st and goal. Deepest penetration of the night for Miami. They're at the 9-yard line after a pickup of 11.
That was just not by design. Now he did have.
5 is out for knee pads.
He did have a quarterback draw called earlier in this drive. That was just him reading it, taking off on his own, and getting a nice pickup on 3rd down to keep this drive alive in the red zone.
LSU takes their first time out of the half.
Perhaps the knee pad problem threw them off. They're talking to Kerry Vincent Jr. over there on the sideline. Timeout. 14:41 to go in Arlington, Texas.
Evidence Njoku, 6'6" down here. Watch for a little jump ball throw.
Rozier looked in his direction, had to pull it down on 1st and goal from for grabs, almost picked off and then almost caught for a touchdown. Jacoby Stevens had the first shot at it for LSU. Ricocheted off him. Lawrence Cager couldn't snare it, and now he's hurt for Miami.
LSU really wants to keep Miami out of the end zone here. Most of their starters are back on the field, and they almost got their 3rd interception of the ball game.
And with Cager still down in the end zone, both teams head to the sideline. Well, AT&T Stadium is going to be the site, of course, of the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, which this year will serve as one of the 2 college football playoff semifinal games, December 29th. The attendance here tonight, a little bit below capacity. For this game, the capacity was 80,000, 68,841. A lot of Miami fans, surprisingly.
I was surprised by that. I really was. I mean, I would not have expected Miami to travel as well. I knew LSU would have a sizable contingent here, but a lot of Miami fans here.
So it wasn't quite more fans tonight than Cole Tracy played in front of his entire 3-year career at Assumption. It wasn't far off. Only 10,000 more we needed tonight to put it over. But how about the night he had 4 for 4, and that last field goal with the longest 54 yards, by the way, ties the longest field goal in LSU history. 54 yards.
Great first night for him on the big stage.
He's the 3rd man to do it.
No forest, no houses.
No. The long field goal. 2nd and goal, Miami. Perhaps a design run for Rozier. And let me ask you this, as Alexander runs him down. You're going to lose the game. We mentioned there was a quarterback competition, but Mark Richt said to us the other day, you know, the young guys really aren't ready.
Yeah.
They're freshmen, redshirt freshmen. Do you really want to run that play down by 30 and get your quarterback smacked again.
No, I don't think that's the best, although we've seen him run the ball about 4 times in this drive. I think Mark Richt is saying we've got to do whatever we can to get a touchdown.
Third down and goal, a minute into the fourth quarter, and he runs it into the end zone. As we said, good idea. Have the quarterback run the ball untouched into the end zone.
Well, this is a nice read. He could have given this to the back. He saw an opening. And I'll tell you what, that shows some toughness from Malik Rozier. It's been a tough night for him. Couple interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. His team has not played well offensively. And he's hung in there and he got his team in the end zone. And that's something they can build on anyway offensively going forward.
Bubba Baxa performing well in his debut. He has wiped out Rozier. Possibility of an onside kick here with Miami trailing 33-10. 13:57 to go. They kick it deep. 1 man back there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire caught it at the goal line, hesitated for a moment, and he's in trouble near the 10-yard line. Made it to the 11. Robert Knowles first there in coverage. And here's a look at another Pacific Life game summary from Jerry World.
Take a look at the 2 quarterbacks. Malik Rozier, Joe Burrow making his first start as the LSU quarterback. Neither one completing over 50% of their passes. Not a lot of yards, but the big difference is right here. No mistakes for Joe Burrow. The 2 interceptions for Rozier, 1 return for a touchdown. Joe Burrow has just done a nice job managing things for LSU.
Yeah, when you look at the stats, they're almost dead even.
Yeah.
The total yardage, Miami actually has a 13-yard edge. Prior to that play, it's still 13, as that was a no-gainer. Miami's passed for 11 more yards, rushed for 2 more yards. Neither one's been any good on third down. Miami's actually been better now on third down than LSU. 5 out of 12 to 2 for 12. But if you look at the stats, it's hard to explain how this is such a one-sided game.
Well, I do think that LSU has gotten a little bit conservative offensively when they had the big lead. They took their foot off the gas a little bit.
Ooh, dangerous play near their own goal line, setting up a screen. Pat Bethel blew that play up.
Trying to go with a little middle screen. You allow the rush to come in, but they were able to get a deflection and almost turned that into a negative play. Could have been an interception after the deflection.
Yeah, if that's an interception and a touchdown, all of a sudden it's a ball game here.
That's right.
LSU 0 for its last 8 on third down. As we said, they've actually been worse than Miami on third down tonight. And this is 3rd and 10. Stop some good field position. Another Miami score, and it'll get people's attention. Burrow says so much for that. We mentioned earlier the coaches said he's a good runner. He doesn't do it much, but when he does, it's often effective. That's 11 yards and a first down.
You know, the talk in Columbus when he was competing with Dwayne Haskins was that he was actually a better runner and Haskins was the better thrower. And he showed it right there. Good quick decision to get straight up the field and pick up the first down and get a third down conversion. Right
Ned
now,
Ogeron and Steve Ensminger told us that Miles Brennan, the backup sophomore from Mississippi, is really the better thrower, has the bigger arm. But they liked the experience of Burrow, even though he hadn't started a game. He played in 10 college games, was around it for 3 years at Ohio State. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, good run on first down. There's Brennan. I guess the question would be, if Miami didn't score, perhaps there was some thought of putting him in the game to get him some snaps, but it's enough of a question mark still to leave the starter in there. But it was a spirited competition that lost 2 of the combatants. When McMillan and Narcisse transferred out in mid-August. Willis, been involved in a lot of stuff tonight, is injured.
You know, we've talked a lot about Joe Burrow being a graduate transfer quarterback from Ohio State, and that's become such a popular trend in college football now, this graduate transfer quarterback. This year there's 24. It's the most that there's ever been in a single year. And the first one was in 2006. A guy left Arizona, Richard Kowalczyk, and went to Vanderbilt. A lot of that time coaches didn't think it'd become that much of a big deal, but it has really become popular. But that last thing there, if you look at just basic efficiency statistics, how many times you start, how many games you win if you take your team to a bowl game, and do you rank in the top 25 in QB efficiency, of the 85 graduate transfer quarterbacks since 2006, only 5 have checked all those boxes off. So there hasn't been a great amount of success, because typically if you sign a graduate transfer quarterback, you're signing a guy who got beat out somewhere else.
Right.
Or you're signing a guy who got hurt and lost his job.
And he only has 1 year, for the most part,
a lot of times
to learn your system and get to know the teammates. Now, that's a difference for Burrow, because he was a good student and graduated in 3 years. He has 2 years of eligibility.
And I think most coaches only want now a guy who has 2 years of eligibility, because it is so difficult to come in and get everything down that quickly.
And how about how honest he was, Joe, when we talked to him the other day? He was 2nd down and 2, and he was wisely going to let the play clock run down. 15 seconds to go in this 23-point lead. He said, yes, I took care of my college part at Ohio State. This is really a job for me now. This is the start of my career.
Yeah.
He said, I'm taking classes, but he said he is taking online classes as a graduate student. He said he spends about 1 hour a night on academics, and everything else is total immersion in football.
Yeah, he was. I've never heard anybody talk like that, but he was very honest with us. And you know, he's got a very business-like approach.
Holly?
Well, guys, when we talked to Ed Orgeron, we said, does it matter that he only had 2 years left? And he said, no, I want the guy that will win now. That was the most important thing to me. He didn't care about the time left or if they were going to try to develop Miles Brennan. They want to win right now.
Yeah, if your name was near the top of every coach on the hot seat list, you'd want to win right now, too. Now, this performance should get some people off Coach O's back, at least for another week or two. Jonathan Garvin, who was injured earlier, back out there. But Ed was very positive. He said despite some of those off the field things that we talked about, he thinks they had a great camp. He likes the talent level, but they have one of the toughest schedules in the
Well, the LSU players-only meeting was led by Devin White, and you can see the All-American candidate linebacker is in there right now on punt coverage team. His message to his guys was everybody has an important job. A lot of young guys are going to have to step up, and if you look at the number of starters on this team right now, that's the story.
Yeah, he said some of the younger guys seem to be offended by the suggestion they had to participate on special teams. Yeah. These guys are 4-star recruits, 3-star, 5-star recruits. But there he is, leading by example. I'm not sure I'd want my best linebacker out there in this situation.
Well, did you see who was in the punch shield? Rashard Lawrence and Brandon Fehoko, their 2 starting defensive linemen, were in the punch shield. So
but I think they know it's still a game.
It is.
It's still a game. It's not much of a game. It's surprisingly one-sided, but a Miami touchdown here tightens things up considerably. And Ed Orgeron and his staff are well aware of that.
I think we'll potentially see a little bit more pressure defense this possession for just the reasons you're talking about, Sean.
Rozier given plenty of time this time, and it's incomplete. Twisting around and failing to catch it was Jeff Thomas.
Failing to catch it, but that's a throw that Rozier needs to make. He had protection. They picked up the blitz from the outside, and he threw it behind Thomas. He's a fast receiver running a crossing route. That ball has to be in front of him, and that's an easy completion. Just a bad pass that time by Rozier.
We talk about the lack of a presence of Amon Richards tonight. 1 catch, and he has not been on the field in these last few series. On the sideline, helmet on. We're not aware that there's anything wrong with him. He certainly doesn't look to be in any sort of pain. Look out! Rozier blasted back inside the 20. Caleb Chason with the sack for LSU.
Well, this is a mistake by the left guard and the left tackle. Watch these two guys. They're just going to open the gap, and Chasen is going to just come right in between them. Somebody has to step down or step out. It's only a three-man rush, and he was unabated to the quarterback.
Third down and 18. LSU crowding the line of scrimmage. But a passive rush, giving Rozier plenty of time. Throwing it deep and caught at the 30-yard line. The speedy Jeff Thomas with a huge play for Miami, 52 yards.
Well, this is a beautiful throw by Rozier, but this is bad defense by LSU. You've got two safeties that both took a bad angle to the football, and they let the receiver get behind them. Jacoby Stevens, number 3, tried to cut in front and go for the football, and he missed it. And that's a big completion on 3rd and long for Rozier.
Nearly 9 minutes to go. Rozier, single coverage, lots of contact, and a catch. Brian Hightower with Kelvin Joseph, the freshman, with tight coverage. That's true freshman against true freshman, and Hightower won the battle.
How about the back-to-back throws by Malik Rozier on the deep post on 3rd and long, and then drops this one in the bucket right over the outside shoulder for the touchdown.
Hightower out of the IMG Academy in Florida, one of the top recruits among wide receivers in the country. Played in the U.S. Army All-American game in San Antonio. Now a big extra point here, and it's a 2-score game. Just 4 plays to go 74 yards, and they took only 1 minute and 19 seconds off the clock. First collegiate catch for Hightower. Game reaction from both coaches from this game. Little pooch, and that was not well done. I love the idea we talked about during the break. If they line up thinking you're going to onside kick it, squib it down there and try to go chase it. But if you kick it out of bounds, that plan doesn't work. By the way, Maria Taylor is going to talk with DeAndre Francois in advance of Florida State's game tomorrow
Free kick
night.
out of bounds. By rule, ball be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Yeah, they're telling the freshman back, so it would be helpful if you kept that in bounds. And also, I'm anxious to hear this one. John Gruden and Khalil Mack talking about the trade. Khalil Mack traded by Oakland, by our man the Gruden Dog, to the Chicago Bears. The Bears got a great player.
Yeah.
I don't know what my man the Gruden Dog's doing. He's got some draft picks, but one of the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah, proven guy.
Could have been a Gruden grinder. Now he's a Chicago, I don't know, Bear. Here comes Nick Brossette. A little bit of game pressure on LSU now, and he rumbles ahead to the 48-yard line. Sheldrick Redwine made the tackle. That's 13 for Brossette, having the best night of his career at LSU, the senior.
I think the last couple possessions, LSU has been more concerned with trying to run clock than they have been being productive. And I think now this possession, they're going to be more focused on, hey, let's put a drive together and the clock will take care of itself. Let's move the football and take care of it.
Poirot on target. Justin Jefferson's had a nice night. Lunges to get everything he could out of that catch. Quan Johnson made the tackle. Jefferson out of an LSU football family. A couple of brothers played. Jordan was the starting quarterback. Ricky, a starting defensive back for the football Tigers.
Their wide receiver coach, Jerry Sullivan, was an NFL guy for over 25 years, coached a lot of great NFL receivers, and he told me at practice the other day he really likes this guy. He thinks he's got a chance to be a great one. He's had a good first game tonight. Only 1 catch a year ago. A good night tonight.
He has 5 catches tonight to lead both teams in receptions. Brossette stopped short of the first down. Miami does have all 3 timeouts left. 7:15 of the clock remaining.
Big third down for LSU. Again, they have struggled in this area after early in the game. 3 of 14 coming into this play. The good news about being 3rd and 2 is you got a lot of options. You can hand the ball off, you can call a pass, you can quarterback run. A lot at your disposal, 3rd and 2.
Deep handoff, and Brissett smothered for a loss. Back at the 47-yard line. Manny Diaz's defense gets the big stop, and Mark Richt will start using timeouts right here with 6:40 to go.
Really good defense. Michael Pinckney, number 56, keeping leverage and turning that ball back inside. Really made that play for the Hurricanes.
Miami takes its first time out.
Download now.
We encourage you to do it. It is all the rage. ESPN Plus. Here's a punt. It's their pooch punter, Josh Grouden, who specializes in this. And he gave him a chance to down it.
Yeah, he did his job. He did his job. Just not able to execute on the end of the play. That was Brissett, who's had such a good game running the football. Chesson, yeah.
One of the things is, I'm delighted to return to college football tonight. One of the things I did not miss over the last 2 years is duplicate numbers.
I know.
Why? Why do they have duplicate numbers?
Because you have over 100 players on the team.
They don't. They're not dressing anywhere near that many people here tonight. All right, can Miami really tighten this thing up? Plenty of time, 6.5 to go, 2 timeouts. They're a deep throwing offense, as we've seen all night tonight. That's a get rid of it offense. Ooh, they hit our camera. They want grounding on the LSU sideline.
Well, did he get out of the tackle box, and did the ball cross the line of scrimmage? I think both of those are somewhat in question.
Is that the camera that just got hit? That's not the camera that got hit. Does the camera that got hit have a name? Yeah, we have the progressive pylon cam. It was just the jib. But is there a name on for the jib? Do we have a sponsor for the jib? Okay, your name here. Go ahead. We need a jib sponsor for next week. The officials conferring. And it gives us a chance to check in with Holly Rowe. Holly, where is Ahman Richards?
Well, he's here on the sideline, and last year he missed some games because of a hamstring injury, and I heard that he had tweaked that hamstring in camp, but I asked him before the game how he was feeling, and he said the hamstring was fine. But I have noticed that there is a new black sleeve on his hamstring and knee. He's standing here on the sideline as if he could go in, but don't know if they're going to call his number right now.
Well, after a lengthy conversation, they throw a flag. That was the LSU crowd you heard cheering.
Yeah. Intentional grounding. Offense number 12. It's a loss of down at the spot of the foul. The quarterback did get outside the pocket. However, the ball did not get to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I thought it might be one or the other. Grant Delpit, the safety, came on the blitz. There you see he leaves the tackle box, but that ball has to cross the line of scrimmage if he's throwing it away, and it didn't.
So it's the 11th penalty of the night for Miami. 2nd and 25, but they overcame some long yardage situations on the touchdown drive a moment ago. Rozier out of the end zone, had a man open, a little too high for Brevin Jordan. They haven't called his name tonight. True freshman tight end out of Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. They won their 9th straight state title last year with Brevin Jordan, the star, considered the #1 tight end prospect in the country. That's Caleb Chasen, injured in the end zone for LSU.
Certainly hope this is not serious. He is a key integral part of this LSU defense, and he does not look comfortable.
Well, Dave Aranda, the defense coordinator, thinks he has a chance to be one of the best ever at LSU. They've had a lot of outstanding linebackers. Hopefully just a cramp.
He plays the bench linebacker position. Arden Key played that position before him. The difference Aranda thought with Chesson was that he kind of sees the big picture, has a better understanding and feel for the game of football in addition to the physical skills of rushing the passer. But they're looking at that left knee right now.
And that's not good,
no.
Obviously. And they're bringing the card over.
Our friend Jack Marucci, the head trainer for LSU, out there checking them out.
In the hat?
Yep. Oh, they're checking both knees.
Sophomore from Houston, Texas. North Shore High School. He was also part of a state championship team back in 2015. They beat Austin Westlake, a perennial power. I believe the alma mater of Drew Brees, among several others. Well, that's good to see. Back up on his feet. Just
scared
slight
him a
limp
little
as
bit.
he heads off.
Yeah, probably just scared him a little bit.
And again, their money's worth out of this defense tonight. How about Dave Aranda? 4-year contract extension to be the defensive coordinator for $10 million, $2.5 million a year, all of it guaranteed.
So regardless of who the head coach is, he's getting paid.
I read a report that last year only 46 head coaches out of the 129 in FBS football made more money than Aranda will make this year. 3rd down and 25. Desperation time for Rozier. Running out of time in the end zone. They're across the 20. They're short of the first down. Jeff Thomas got them close enough that Mark Richt really needs to think about it. Kerry Vincent stopped him 3 yards short of the line to make.
Yeah,
he's going for it.
Well, I think he's going for it regardless.
Yeah, you have to.
You know, I mean, but 4th and 25 is really hard. This is doable for Miami.
Rozier's now thrown for 248 on 13 out of 29. At the very least, his stats will look better with this late rally. Short throw and the catch made by Darrell Langham.
They brought the corner blitz from the short side of the field, and Rozier saw it. That required the safety Delpit to come over to cover, and he just wasn't able to get there quick enough. Good recognition and quick delivery by Malik Rozier.
Who gets them up quickly with 5.5 to go. LSU led 33-3. It's 33-17. Miami has the ball again. They're screaming for flags, and they get the flag. Hightower still made the catch. Christian Fulton had the coverage.
Yeah, he was all over Hightower. Never saw the football. He was just tied up with the receiver. He doesn't think it was a penalty, but it was pretty obvious from our vantage point. Hightower stayed with it.
Well, he doesn't like the call.
Pass interference. Defense number 22. Spot foul. Automatic. First down.
But Holly, Christian Fulton just happy to be out there tonight.
Well, that's right. He received a 2-year ban from the NCAA for tampering with his sample, a urine sample, in a drug test. Now, ironically, his sample came back clean, but because he tampered with it, he got that severe penalty. The AD and everybody went to bat for him.
There's a deep throw by Rozier, and another flag on Fulton. Evidence Njoku, the younger brother of David Njoku, former tight end in Miami and a high draft pick of the Cleveland Browns, the intended receiver.
Pass interference. Defense number 22. That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
That's a hard play for a defensive back when the ball is underthrown. The receiver sees it, and as he stops to go up, it's hard for the defender to stop his momentum, and he goes right into the receiver.
.5 minutes to go. Miami on the move again. Rozier No flag this time as he was looking for Mike Harley with Kerry Vincent, the sophomore. He's had a busy night at cornerback in coverage.
And remember, the best pass rusher for LSU, Chesson, not on the field after that injury.
Five minutes to go. 2 timeouts left for Miami, down by 16. Field goal really doesn't do them any good. They need a couple of touchdowns and a couple of 2-point conversions. They had Brevin Jordan, the tight end, running open. Rozier couldn't hit him. Holly?
Hey, just to finish up on Christian Fulton, guys. So the athletic director and LSU went to bat against the NCAA. They thought that because he had served that 1-year suspension, that should be long enough. He was out of football for almost 18 months. The NCAA did agree because he actually did pass the drug test. It was just the tampering with the sample. So he's back and playing, and boy, have they needed him tonight.
What he tried to do was substitute somebody else's sample. They saw him do that, but he went ahead and took the test anyway and passed it. Rozier down the seam too high and almost picked off by Grant Delpit. The intended receiver was Jeff Thomas.
When Rozier has missed tonight, it has been high. Some of that is pressure. He's not the tallest quarterback at 6'1", but the ball has sailed on him several times tonight, and that time very lucky that Grant Delpit doesn't have better hands.
Well, they've converted several times here in the fourth quarter when they absolutely had to. Here's another 4th down and 10 from the LSU 40 with 4:48 to go. Down by 16, a blitz. Rozier spun around. The only question from here, do they grab him by the face mask? No flags on the play. Braden Fehoko made the first contact on Rozier.
Boy, what a quick first step by Fehoko. The center, Gauthier, stepped right, and the guard does not step down soon enough. Watch the quickness of the nose guard. The left guard doesn't step down soon enough, and Fehoko goes right by him. And when you're a quarterback and that pressure comes right up the middle, you have no chance.
And the hand very briefly on the face mask. It looked like it went down to the jersey when he spun him around. Bill, was there Bill Lamagna enough there for a face mask, or is that a good let it go?
I thought it was a good no call. Even if the hand is on the mask initially and you immediately release without a twist, yank, pull, it's not a face mask. So that was a good no call.
So LSU takes over on downs. Here's a look at it again. Twist, yank, or pull. None of the above, says Bill. They're excited about Fehoko. Sat out last year's transfer from Texas Tech.
Miami
started 25 games in 2 years, all 25.
30 seconds.
Cliff Kingsbury. Another Miami timeout, 4:36 to go. Which gives us a chance to remind you want to tune in to ESPN tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Number 20 Virginia Tech, number 19 Florida State kicking off their seasons. Part of the college football megacast. Actually, it's the biggest part. We couldn't have the megacast without the game. So it's not part of it. The megacast is kind of part of the game.
Yes.
Got a little punchy, Todd. It's late. We're hungry. ESPNU News, ESPN3, all kinds of stuff. The command center, the film room over on News. And I'm going to tune in for the blimp. Marty Smith and Ryan McGee. So do you go to ESPN3 for that? The first ever Goodyear Blimpcast. They're 1,000 feet above Doak Campbell Stadium. What are they going to talk about? Boy, those guys look really small from up here. I couldn't really tell what happened. We're 1,000 feet in the air. It's a pretty stadium at night. Tallahassee has a nice skyline. What are they possibly going to add?
They'll figure something
out. They will. They are very entertaining. Love their radio show. Here's Brissett. Looks like he got a first down. Far and away the biggest night of his career. His previous rushing yardage high in a single game was 73 against Missouri 2016. With that 12-yard run, he's up to 122 on 19 carries tonight, averaging 6.5 carry, and his 50-yard run.
Takes his third and final time out of the half.
The thing I liked about him is not only the power he's run with, but the patience. He shows great patience letting his blocks set up.
Here's tonight's player spotlight brought to you by Discover Card. It was 3-3. He busts one for 50 for a touchdown, and they scored 24 unanswered points. Took control of the game. Here's a look back at it. 50-yarder. Untouched. Great call. Beautifully executed. Well, maybe touched. Oh, that was the next one.
Yeah, I've been impressed with him. You know, we came into the game thinking they were going to play 3 different guys, which they did. But he certainly established himself as the feature guy in an offense and in a team that's used to having a feature tailback. Not the hype or the accolades of the guys that played that position previous to him, but he certainly has shown well tonight.
He's a senior. Those were the first 2 touchdowns of his college career after he had 141, the state record in high school. Just rushing touchdowns. He gets the carry again. Miami's out of timeouts. Joe Jackson made the tackle. They'll snap it again with under 4 minutes to go. What'll be an impressive season opening win for LSU. Holly.
Well, Caleb Chason has undergone a very extensive ligament stability test on his left knee. They actually brought the cart out to the sideline after that test to try to cart him off, and he refused. He said, I'm not getting on that thing. They brought him some crutches, but again, he threw the crutches down. He has finally relented, so they are icing up that left knee. He doesn't think it's serious, but they don't want him to put any weight on it right now.
All right, Holly. There's Brissett again. Miami stacking up the line of scrimmage. Forward progress stopped. Well, LSU, a lot of questions coming into the season. How impressed are you by what they've done tonight?
I'm very impressed. You know, I still think they've got obviously some work to do offensively. Their passing game still needs to grow as they go forward. But I'm impressed with how their defense played the way I expected them to play. I thought Joe Burrow, for his first game, managed things extremely well. I thought their offensive line, where there was some questions against a very good, established veteran Miami defense, held their own and controlled the line of scrimmage for most of the game.
Again, no turnovers. We talk about the stats quite even tonight, but 2 turnovers for Miami, no turnovers for LSU. Kicker Tracy with a wonderful debut. Wonder if he's going to get another chance to go 5 for 5 tonight, perhaps. And that goes back to last year. LSU 8 turnovers, fewest in the country. Yeah. Tied the all-time record for fewest in a season. Only 5 other teams had done that.
Well, and it also shows you how much Miami last year and now into the first game this year relied on those turnovers to turn games around for them. In the first 10 games in that 10-0 run last year, they had 30 turnovers that they forced. Yeah. Then only 1 since that time, and they're looked to be 0 in their last 4 games. So, you know, their success was very closely tied to their ability to create turnovers, and without those turnovers, they haven't been able to win a football game.
No turnover chain out tonight. Told they've made some adjustments to the turnover chain, changed it a little bit physically, the actual chain. Probably not going to find out about that tonight. It's being mimicked. We saw the turnover belt. Louisville had it last night. You know who knows all about the trends?
Who's that?
Holly Rowe.
Of course she does.
In her spare time today, she found out that several other schools, Holly, have kind of imitated the turnover chain.
Well, that's right. I saw Tulane had the turnover beads, the Mardi Gras beads. Memphis had a cool turnover robe that looks like a big boxer championship robe. But my favorite, I believe, was the Boise State throne. It is a bedazzled throne that sits on the sideline. So the turnover chain starting trends all across the country.
So if you get a turnover, you go sit on the throne, so to speak?
Yes.
Yikes.
Josh Groudon, the Australian, with the punt. The snapper Blake Ferguson went over to down it. 1:59 to go. We have an MLB Labor Day doubleheader for you tomorrow. The Red Sox, led by Alex Cora, former Miami infielder, taking on the Braves. That's at 1 o'clock. Red Sox best record in baseball, not far behind the Yankees. Game with Wild card implications. The top two wild card teams in the American League, the Yankees and the A's. Red Sox 7.5 up on Aaron Boone's Yankees. In the East, Indians going to win their division. Astros in the battle with the Athletics. Mariners trying to hang in there. But when I think of Miami and LSU, I think of that baseball game. In the College World Series championship game back in 1996. Alex Cora, now the Red Sox manager, was on the field when the game ended.
Now Warren Morris hits a deep drive down the right field line. That ball is gone. LSU wins the College World Series on a home run by Morris. I recognize that voice.
Yeah. Hard to believe it was that long ago. What's that, 22 years ago now? It was shocking, too. Of course, fans on both sides remember that, particularly Warren Morris, a hero now throughout the state of Louisiana. But I remember they told us he couldn't really hit for any power. He'd hurt his hand, and he had lost all power. And then he just rips one down the right field line. First time, I believe, that the College World Series had ever ended on a home run.
Before all the talk of launch angle, because that was a line shot.
It sure was. It was back in the good old days of Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha. Third down and 8. Rozier dumped. Michael Divinity, a junior from Marrero, Louisiana, one of their starting linebackers.
Well, Jacob Phillips was there first. He was unblocked. And Rozier had nowhere to go away from him and right into the waiting arms of Michael Divinity.
Fourth and 13. In Miami, a very disappointing season opening loss. Not just the result, but the one-sidedness of it certainly surprising. They have a while before they get into ACC play. But you said at the beginning of the telecast you weren't sure they have what it takes to be a national championship contender. They certainly look like they're a long way from that with this performance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're getting closer. I do think that they're good enough to win the ACC Coastal again, and they're good enough to get to the ACC championship game. But they still have a ways to go to get to that elite level in college football.
Can we get Coach O off the hot seat at least for a week? You know, that's a week-to-week thing, these hot seats. Seems kind of silly that we have hot seats before the year's even started.
Last year they finished 9-4. Very easily could have been 11-2. They lose at home to Troy by 3, and if they could kick a field goal they might have beaten Notre Dame in the bowl game. 11-2, he's not on a hot seat, but at 9-4 in Baton Rouge he is. But tonight helps.
4 straight losses for Miami. What happened to that team that was 10-0 a year ago? And a terrific